I'm not gonna be one of those people who are religious. That's not gonna be the focus of my mental health. I'm not gonna tell you to, like, my treatment is really not gonna be based on praying it away. You know what I'm saying? That's not gonna be my treatment. Now there are people who are gonna need prayer and stuff like that. But you know, a lot of times you gotta be honest with your patients, with your clients. You gotta let them know that, you know, that's not what you do. And if they will feel better with another counselor who would give them that type of room, then I can always you know, let them know to go to one of those. Hey, how's it going, JT? Can I get your name, age, and did you disagree? I mean, I got your name already, but can I get your age and did you disagree with what I have on the board?
My age is 28. I slightly disagree. I like your points, but I actually slightly disagree with that very first one. And I just want to get your opinion on what great actually means to you.
Yeah, sure. So when it comes to greatness, especially when it comes to a country, I think the greatness is not within like either economic or just military power. I think it's building institutions that spread pro-human and pro-social principles, which America stated that they have. They stated that they have freedom, liberty, justice for all, etc. Those are pro-human and pro-social. So the institution should be built in order to spread those to all of its citizens, especially those without power. When we come to American society, we see that not only has America not done that, but in many cases fought against it. Now, that doesn't mean that they can't be doesn't mean that America can't be great. It just means that as of right now, we aren't doing that. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I see it's in the past tense. America was never great. So actually, I have to disagree with your point there. The reason I'm disagreeing is I am a person that has traveled a lot in my life and not just stayed in resorts, not cruise ships and stuff like that, but has actually been immersed in the cultures of other people. I just returned from Vietnam, Thailand, Brazil, places like that, and being immersed in the culture. Based on your definition as well, I disagree with your definition as well. When you're talking about unless you have a different definition of institutions, because in terms of, first of all, America is the most comfortable country in the world. There's not a country that can be more comfortable in terms of immediate access to the latest electronics. It is the most powerful country when it comes to entertainment. So when you talk about institutions that limit power for the people, I would actually say your point is false, because it is the country that has allowed people from nowhere to become instant overnight celebrities on a much bigger scale than any other country in the entire world. And someone said in Japan, Japan has not even come close to when it comes to global celebrities overnight type of thing. I'm talking this is strictly from an entertainment perspective on the scale of America, because America is a bigger country than Japan. But in other institutions, yeah, that's correct.
All right. So when it comes to entertainment, right? Yeah, sure. Like, for example, LeBron James is going to be more famous than a European or Japanese basketball player. Like, no one denies that, right? LeBron James still gets the police called on him in his neighborhood. That's great.
Oh, no, that part's not great. But we're talking about America was never great as a whole. You say there are problems in every country, but you're saying because there's a specific problem for LeBron, for this example, that limits the country from being great?
Yes. Because
so again, is there any country that is great?
No, we're talking about America. Like I'm comparing America to its own stated principles and values, and according to its own stated principles and values, it hasn't reached that. Because if we have, when I say institutions in America, I'm talking about like political and social institutions. You know, things like the criminal justice system, healthcare, governance, I mean, finance, things like that. You see discrimination in all of it.
Sure, you do, and I agree.
Right, that's what means that's not great.
So, is there any country that is great? That's my question, because then we have to have a definition of what great means.
Well, I never lived anywhere else, well, I can't really make that comparison. I'm just trying to compare what America's stated principles are. And if I'm saying what makes America great is those are great stated principles. Do you build institutions in order to expand it? If you don't and you fight against it, how are you great?
Got it. So your definition, and I completely understand where you're coming from as well, that your definition is no matter how lengths a country can build up a person or their people, if there's problems even for those people at the top that are rooted, institutionalized, the country cannot be great.
Right.
Is that essentially what you're saying?
Essentially what I'm saying, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Then that's completely understandable. I really just wanted to hop on here and see what your definition of great was. I'm not an American like toting type of guy, but I for the most part I agree with the rest of your points here as well.
All right, cool. Not a problem. Hey, I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you.
No problem. All right, guys. Keep liking the live and keep sharing. We're gonna go ahead and have a good conversation. We started off the live pretty well. I like the way we started off, y'all. Respectful conversations. Nothing forceful, nothing calling each other stupid or whatever. I like conversations like that. We can go ahead and keep it going. Y'all go ahead and keep tap that screen. Y'all tap that screen. I do have a goal. If you would like to support me on becoming a subscriber, you can get a whole bunch of those emojis. Let me show you some of the. Well, I can't do it on this one, but I'll show y'all some of those emojis. But you can get a lot of those emojis in our comments to hear. If you hear, go ahead and show what some of those emojis are, so people can go ahead and take a look at them. Yep, there we go. That's one of those emojis. That's one of my favorite ones. That's one of my favorite ones. The boring is another one. Whenever Tahir puts boring in the chat, I know it's time to move on. whenever she puts that boring emoji in the chat, I'm like, all right, it's time to move on, y'all. Oh yeah, and Phil Bro is another good one. I like that one. Whenever she puts Phil Bro or boring in the chat, I'm like, okay, yeah, it's time to move. It's time to move on because I'm losing people. Yeah, when she puts that, like, yeah, I'm losing people. Let me go ahead and move on and go on to the next person. But y'all tap that screen, tap that screen. Yeah, y'all see those emojis in the chat. You guys can go ahead and get those if you become a subscriber. What the heck? What was that? I'm talking about institutional changes and I would say cash as well. Why did it do that? That was crazy. All right, we got another person, Hossam Mohammed. All right, Mohammed, how's it going? Can I get your age and did you disagree with what I have on the board?
It's going all right. I'm 26. The only thing I disagree with is the religion aspect. I think everything else is. I agree with everything else.
All right, sure. Yeah, so I don't think there's any good evidence for a God. Faith is unreliable, and holy books are not evidence for anything. Which one did you disagree with?
Probably the fourth point and the last point.
You think there's? Oh, you think there is good evidence for a God, and holy books are evidence?
Yeah.
All right, sure. Why do you think holy books are? Well, let's start with the first one. What good evidence do you think there is for a God?
Well, I think there has to be something that has always existed.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if not, you'll go through the problem of infinite regress, and that there will be nothing that ever started anything. So I think there has to be some uncaused cause that is the origin of everything.
Yeah, sure. Like, but that is like an assumption that you're making that there can't be an infinite regress. We don't know if that's true or not. But let's say that there is some sort of uncaused cause. It doesn't necessarily have to be a God, right? It could be a natural process that we simply don't understand yet.
I mean, what else could it be? I mean, whatever this uncaused cause is, right, brought the universe into being. And this universe that we see around us is there's fine tuning to it. I think the best way that I look at it, and I think about it, honestly, is just like in terms of biology. Because I have kind of like a biology background and stuff. And when you learn about specific processes in the human body, not even just in life in general,
mm-hmm.
It's so complicated. And for me, I can't make that stretch to say that this happened because of randomness and unguided mutations. Because there's certain mutations, right, that were twofold, right? They require two steps at the same time in order for it to be there.
Sure.
Right? So it's like, how do you, in Darwin's theory is that stepwise over time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you know that we've moved on from Darwin a long time ago, right? Like, if you have a biology background, you know that. Like, Darwin didn't know everything. Yeah, I mean, Darwin didn't know about genetic drift because genetics wasn't a thing when he was alive. So, like, there are more steps to this than just Darwin. He only told about one step, which was natural selection. There are other ways evolution can happen. So it's not just that. But the second thing that I would say is that Darwin is actually one of the best cases. It's not the best case, but I think it's one of the best cases because it shows that things that we see in our world, the phenomena, can be natural, right? Or it actually gave a reason why things can be natural and don't require supernatural explanations. Like, for example, you have a biology background. There is nothing within anything that we know about our world, about the natural world, anything that we see that has a supernatural explanation. None of it. Right? So why would the universe in of itself also need a supernatural explanation?
But how do we know that it doesn't have a supernatural explanation?
No, I'm not saying that it doesn't necessarily not have supernatural explanation. I'm asking why does it need one? Because nothing that we've ever discovered about our universe needed one. Like, it's all been natural explanations. Rain, lightning, etc. You know what I'm saying? So why would the universe in of itself need a supernatural explanation?
I mean, you gotta think about the process of.
Hey, Day, I'm sorry to cut you off, but it's not your turn yet. It's Muhammad's turn. I'll let you in though. All right, but yeah, go ahead, Muhammad.
I thought he was another person that was like on your side or whatever coming to start cooking. I was like, oh man, it's gonna be 2v1.
No, I'm just I'm letting in. I kind of my thing is on auto accept. So anyone is coming up at the moment, but I think he's more on your side. But okay, yeah, okay. Go ahead and let me know, why do you think that the universe itself needs a natural explanation if nothing else we discovered about our living conditions, our universe, none of it ever needed a supernatural explanation, or we found out that the explanation for it wasn't supernatural. So why would it need a supernatural explanation?
Well, that's not necessarily true, right? Because we don't necessarily know from a scientific perspective how the universe prior to the Big Bang, how it actually formed, and we don't know how life started either. Now, granted, there are a lot of natural explanations as to things that we can perceive, but how do we not know that those things that are perceived naturally or perceived scientifically aren't influenced by a creator, and that we can interpret it in that way, but ultimately the strings are being pulled by a higher intellect?
Yeah, you can say that, right? But what evidence do we have that that's the case? I'm not saying that the universe cannot have been made by a supernatural creator or anything like that. I'm saying that we don't have evidence or enough justification to show that that's the case yet. And not only that, everything that we found out about our universe has always been a natural explanation. Nothing has ever been supernatural. You know what I mean? So I don't see a reason why the universe in of itself or existence in of itself needs something supernatural. Like, it could be something natural, right? You could be right. Let's say you could be right that it's a supernatural explanation, right? I'm not saying that that's completely not the case. I'm saying that I don't have enough justification to believe that yet. And when it comes to what do I think started it, I'm not sure. I don't know what started the universe, et cetera, et cetera. I have no clue, right? But that doesn't mean that all of a sudden a being that created all space and time has to be the case. I don't think that's the truth. We just don't have justification anyway to say either way yet. We should, the most honest position is I don't know. For the person that just came up, the I love Jesus person, you can go ahead and come back up. It's fine. We can keep talking. It's just not your turn yet. It's gonna be Day, and there's gonna be the next person. All right. But yeah, Hassan, you see what I'm saying? And just give me one quick moment. Hey, everybody, I appreciate y'all for being here. I appreciate you all for being here. I appreciate everybody who's in the chat right now. For everyone who's in the chat right now, calling me stupid or whatever, I know that I don't have a call-in number, but you can join over on the TikTok. I think TikTok is now letting anybody join up. So if you would like to actually join up and talk to me about it, go ahead and come and talk to me. All right. But yeah, Hassan, do you understand what exactly I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I think that, I mean, I come from like a Muslim background and stuff. So, you know, we look at this life as a test, right? And so ultimately to see that, like, whether or not you will believe in God without necessarily seeing him, without necessarily seeing, you know, miracles and things of that nature. So to me, it makes sense that, you know, we wouldn't just have an outright explanation, because then the matter would be settled and then there would be no point of the test in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I get that. I always tell people I'm not going to take it away from you. You know what I mean? Like if this is something that you live through your life because you think it makes you a better person, then yeah, sure. I'm not going to take it away from you. Then, you know, live your life, because that's what's causing you to either have hope or be a better person, et cetera, et cetera. I don't see a reason why an all-knowing God would test you if he already knows the answer. Yeah, I mean, that part doesn't make sense to me. But if it's something that you say that, hey, I don't know why he's doing that if he already knows the answer, then I could accept that. I mean, we don't know everything. You feel me?
Well,
I don't know.
He tells us that essentially, like, yes, he knows the answer, but he decided to create us anyways, right? Because there would be people that would believe in him and would be good and live the life the way that he wanted to. And if he would have just sent people to hell in the first place, and they would have complained and said, well, you didn't even give us a chance. Right. So
why not just create everybody in heaven?
Well, we took a covenant. We made a covenant with God. We don't remember the covenant, obviously, but we took a covenant with God asking to take this test to reach heaven. Now, we didn't have to take this test. We could have stayed wherever we were in whatever form that we were living in before. But we made that decision. So everybody here in this life said, yes, I will take this test because of the promise of something as great as heaven. That's the Islamic belief.
I got you. Now this covenant that we took that we don't remember, is it fair for us to go to hell for a covenant that we don't even remember? And because this God is not actually giving us evidence that he's true, then I can just say, well, I don't know about that covenant, so I'm not going to believe it. Why would it be fair to then send us to hell for that?
Well, it depends on who the person is, right? So if the person was somebody who, let's say, they never had exposure to Islam, they never learned about it, they never heard the message of it, they're not going to be tested in that way. It's not fair. But somebody who hears the message of Islam, understands it to be true, but yet still denies it because they can't accept it for whatever reason, then that person would be sent there.
Right. So what? So let's say I heard the message of Islam, right? But I'm like, okay, well, this doesn't really make sense to me, so I'm not gonna believe it. Does that mean I must go to hell because something just doesn't make sense to me?
In my opinion, I'm not like a scholar or anything. In my opinion, no.
Okay.
In my opinion, it would be that you know that it's the truth, but you have something inside of your heart, that is making you deny it.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of something that I've heard from Christians as well. I mean, look, here's the thing. What I always say, right? If y'all are right, Christians and Muslims, if y'all are right, and there is an all-knowing God out there, I think that God knows better. I think that God would know my heart or whatever, and not send me to eternal punishment for not believing something that I sincerely cannot believe if I don't have justification for it. Because someone simply telling me something is not really justification that is true, right? Because if I were to tell you that I have $10 billion in the Bahamas, follow me there, quit your job tomorrow, and I'll give you $500 million. Are you going to believe me because I said so?
I mean, it depends on what kind of evidence you got.
Exactly. It will depend on the evidence that I got. But that's the thing. So that's exactly the type of thing that I'm saying. Like, it would really depend on the evidence. If I really don't have that, it's not really a good reason. You see,
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, like, not you right now, but let's say you read the Quran, and you're like, man, this part of you is like, this makes sense, but then there's another part of you that just doesn't want to accept it as the truth, even though you know it's the truth. Yeah. Then that's when I say that you would be punished. But if you read it and
it just doesn't make sense,
or, you know, whatever reason, let's say you never read it and you just, you know, can't ever convince yourself that God is real or not, and you don't know, would you say you're agnostic, or would you say that you're atheist?
Well, I'm an agnostic atheist, meaning that I don't claim one side or the other, that there's a God or there's not a God. I don't know if there is one, but at this point in my life, I don't actually believe in one. That doesn't mean that can't change. It can change if I have some sort of justification, but right now I don't have any justification. So, and I don't see myself having that anytime in the future. All right, Muhammad, we're at 1 minute. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the next person, but I do appreciate you being here, and you can come back anytime. All right, we'll go ahead and still talk about it. All right.
All right. Good talk, man.
Not a problem. Appreciate you. All right, y'all. Keep liking the live, y'all. Keep liking the live. Go ahead and tap that screen. I do appreciate y'all. Tap that screen. I do have a super chat that's pretty interesting. All right, I do have a super chat that is pretty interesting. All right, so W Striker says, funny how you'll condemn MAGA, but you never disavow the Black Hebrew Israelites. Hey, y'all, this person said that I'll never condemn the Black Hebrew Israelites. I literally have a live. I wish I could put it up right now. I'm not gonna put it up so I can mess it up. But I really I have a live every Sunday with Black Atheist Rants that literally says Black people should not be what? Christian, Muslim, or Black Hebrew Israelite. That's my live. So I don't know where you're coming from with that, Striker. Thanks for the $5 though. Thanks for that. You said you'll never acknowledge that Billion Lamb was full of crooks. It was. Like, what are you talking about? So, Striker, it's funny how you just assume shit, bro. Like, why would you do that? I'll just assume things. Hey, Mike, I saw your comment. Give me a second, all right? It's funny how you just assume things, Striker, but thanks for the $5. You know what I mean? All right, so, and resist. They appreciate Mama resist. Funny people assume. It is true. Y'all assume shit, bro. Like, why would you assume that? There's no reason to assume that. Hey, Day, I'm gonna let you go next, but Mike has something to say real quick because he has to go. Mike, what did you need to say? Because I know you have to go.
Yeah, I'll try and be back in an hour, but I just wanted to talk about how with science and the Big Bang, it shows that the universe has a beginning, you know? I just wanted to point that out, you know?
Yeah, sure. All right, cool. I'm gonna get you in a second. If you gotta go, just let me know in the chat, and then you can come back in like an hour, okay? Not a problem. All right, Dave, go ahead, brother. It's your time to shine. Can I get your can I get your age, please? And did you disagree with anything I had on the board?
I'm 23, and I disagree with there's no evidence for a God.
Cool. All right, we'll go ahead and put 15 minutes on the clock. Yeah, I don't think there's any good evidence for a God. What good evidence do you think there is?
I mean, just looking at life in of itself, right? Like this would like this. So let's take away first to establish I'm a Christian, but let's just take away the religion aspect of it, right? Let's just talk about a God, right? There's a thought and a process of being of there being a God.
Mm-hmm.
So we know before the Big Bang, right, that there was matter and antimatter, but there was protons and neutrons that was popping in and out of existence consistently, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you want me to believe, right, out of all the chances that of its popping in and out of existence, that it somehow randomly, spontaneously, through years, mind you, this is before the concept of time existed, protons and neutrons came together, exploded, and ended up creating the universe. And even if that is the case, right, then that would have to mean that there would have to be some type of higher being or existence for protons and neutrons to even be there.
I mean, yeah, you can make an argument that for the protons and the neutrons, well, not protons, neutrons, but basically like quarks and stuff like that, for them to exist, there had to be some sort of other universe for them to exist, or some sort of form of existence for that to happen, right? You can make that case, you can argue that. Not sure if we have any evidence of that as of yet, but you can make that that assumption, right? That doesn't get us to a God though, because you're saying that life and everything about life, right? But life can be a natural process, and everything that we've seen so far shows that life is likely an emergent property, likely a result of chemistry and physics, you know what I mean? Or physics acting upon chemistry, essentially. Same thing with the universe. You even said it. Elementary particles are popping in and out of existence, or in and out of the universe, like the quantum foam, until enough energy was built up for the expansion of the universe. Where did those elementary particles come from, or what even is the quantum foam? We don't know yet. But I don't think just because we don't know those answers, therefore God is now the correct one. That's doesn't really make sense to me.
Okay, so which I understand that, but I guess for me is the conclusion of, well, if it's like going from the human body, right, then to the human cell, and then the cell within the cell, and then the cell within the cell, and then up all the way down to get the sub particle of an organism, or just matter in general. And I feel like when you get to the very bottom, you still have to question, where did it come from? And if we can't scientifically explain what the sub particle come from, then the only reasonable and logical explanation would have to be some type of higher intelligence or designer, right? It's like a house being designed by an architect, right? Even if the blueprint isn't there, we know there has to be something to create the house. The house can just be built on its own.
Right, but we know houses aren't natural. Houses don't just naturally pop up in the forest, right? So, but when it comes to like protons, electrons, and leptons and quarks, we know that those are natural. Those just are part of the universe. So you will have to show first that like electrons and elementary particles are not natural. And how exactly do you do that?
That's something that's beyond the human comprehension. That's for something that, like I said, that's beyond scientific. That I feel like that's something that, as no matter how advanced our science get, I don't think we're ever would truly get to know to that extent, because that is just beyond the human comprehension.
Right.
So,
okay. So the thing is that will mean that you're simply just assuming that elementary particles are not part of the natural world, that they were designed somehow. But
yes.
What reason do you have to assume that?
Process of elimination of being rational.
All right, but how did you eliminate the natural option? How did you eliminate that?
Because
the thing is
okay. So for me, I guess is, we know that matter can't be created nor destroyed, right? But yet there is something that before the universe even existed, that we have things that are literally popping in and out of existence, that would have to conclude that law does not exist.
That law does not exist? What do you mean?
Of matter being created or destroyed. If we have particles that's being quarks that's being popping in and out of existence, which as we know, when they collided, right, we created the Big Bang, thus creating an equal amount of, should have created an equal amount of matter and antimatter, but it didn't. But the fact that there is something that has been there that was not created nor destroyed, my reasonable explanation would have to be that something has to design it. If nothing didn't design it, then how did it be?
We just don't know yet. But the thing is, though, again, you're simply saying that because these things popped in and out of existence, something had to design it. You're not connecting the two conclusions. What is your justification that something must have designed it, and not that it's a natural formation that we simply do not understand yet? Because that's also an option, but you just eliminated it for no reason.
I wouldn't say necessarily for no reason. I would say just because, based upon what we know about existence, right, and that majority of life as we know right now that we see right now is matter, and we know that matter and antimatter can't coexist. So for us to even be here, for us even having this conversation, you would have to say that all of this would be random, and the number on that and the possibility that is too astronomically low that we can rule up that it's impossible for this to be natural. So
not
so
really,
so so
not really,
unless
because what did you compare it to?
unless we're assuming,
Hold on,
right?
hold on. What did you compare it to? Because this is the only universe we have. So what did you compare it to?
So what I'm comparing to is, right, this is based off what most theorists of scientists say about the beginning or before the Big Bang with the quarks, right? Majority of them say, well, if before the Big Bang, right, there have to be an assumption that there are other universes that create other universes at the end of the cycle. We know that our universe right now is not infinite. It will sooner or later will explode. Was not explode. Will collapse in itself and restart anew, right? Which means that the universe has a beginning. Which means it had to have come from somewhere else. And if we're assuming that other universes at the end of this life cycle collapse and create anew, then it would mean there had to be a beginning before that. At the very beginning, where did it come from? And the only logical explanation would have to be something intelligent or divine created.
Or that there's a natural explanation we can't understand yet. You're just eliminating the other option for no reason, bro. That's what I'm saying. But like when you even in your crunch thing, that just means that the universe is creating and bouncing back. There's no creator that's needed there. You know what I'm saying? So like, here's what I'm trying to say, right? Whenever I say, what are you comparing it to? Because you only have one universe. What that means is that the way that we know something is designed versus something is natural is that you can compare the two things. For example, I always use this, right? A rose in your garden and a silk rose. We know that a rose in a garden has different cells. It feels different. It smells different. We can look into the plant cells and tell that it's different. A silk rose we know is made out of silk because not only it feels different, it smells different. We can look into the cells and see that these are synthetic things. We can see that these are not moving parts. You see what I'm saying? We see that it's completely made of metal and things like that. So it's synthetic. That's how we can tell the difference between a silk rose and a rose in your garden. We cannot do that with the universe because the universe is all we have. Until we can step into another universe and say, okay, these are the differences, and this is how we can tell that something is designed and something is natural. Look at the particles in this universe and look at the particles in our universe. That's how we can tell the difference between them. We have nothing to go on. We can't do that. So when I say, how are you eliminating the natural option? That's what I mean. You cannot compare it to anything else. You're simply saying that because, it's incomprehensible that something it can't, create itself, or it's not natural because I just don't think it is. You're not really doing anything logical. They're just eliminating the other option for no reason.
So you don't think that it is what's the word? A logical conclusion?
It's not a logical conclusion because you're simply eliminating the other option for no reason.
So let me give you an example. So let's say for example, like a crime scene, right? And we have different witnesses and different alibis, right? And all we have is the data of the witnesses on what they saw the perpetrator did, right? And out of the witnesses, we have enough data to have a logical conclusion that the perpetrator, let's say, stabbed somebody or killed somebody, right? Let's say you have like 10, 12, 13 witnesses, right? Out of those 10, 12, 13 witnesses, some of them could be lying and the other one could be telling the truth, right? But just based upon what you have and what has been told, like the most crime scenes, you would probably go with the most logical answer on what has happened. Unless you have an actual camera in of itself, right? Or recording of the guy doing it, which AK meaning the universe, meaning the universe, or seeing the beginning of the universe, which we do not have, then the only reliable source that segment have is witnesses, aka particles and subparticles of the universe, and seeing how they play out in our universe.
Right. And how they play out in our universe is naturally. There's no they're completely random. There's no set type of order to them.
I mean, which I understand that, but the probability of it being random in of itself is too low of a chance for it to even happen. That's what I'm saying.
What did you compare that? That's what I'm saying. What did you compare that to?
We're comparing it to the fact that if the universe started, right, with the quarks, right, and we should have the exact same amount of antimatter as matter, but we don't. We have more matter than antimatter. That's why.
Right, but that doesn't show that it was designed. That doesn't show that. It just showed that there's a
but I'm saying, but the probability is so low that you can rule it out as impossible. Then that only leaves one.
But there is no probability because you can't compare it to anything. You're comparing the universe to itself. You can't make that comparison and say that it's designed now. You have to compare it to something else, and we can't do that unless you invented technology to slip into your. Unless you're Rick and Morty, bro, and you invented technology to slip into another universe. But as of right now, we can't do that.
So you would bet on the universe being more astronomically low possibility of it being started on its own and random than the possibility of an actual architect or a designer.
I'm not even talking about possibility because hold on. I'm not talking about possibility or probabilities because we can't do that. We don't have nothing to compare it to. So I'm not saying that there's what I'm saying is that you could be right that it is designed, right? But also there's another option. It's a natural process that we don't understand. Like there's no way to compare our universe to something else to know which one's designed, which one is not. You have to compare it to something, and we can't do that.
Okay. Well, let's say for right now, I'm gonna come back with more. I'm gonna study up and research some more. But it was nice talking to you, man. I appreciate it, brother. You be safe out here, man. And it's nice talking to you.
You as well. I appreciate you.
No problem.
All right, guys, let's keep liking the live. We're at 13K. Let's try to get us to 20K, y'all. Zealot Wrath, you have to hit the guest request. There's a button right there. I'll go ahead and send you a guest request. All right, we're going to move on to Zeno. Zeno, I believe that you had a political question, and it was about reparations. Zeno, can I get your age, and what did you disagree with that I had on the board?
I'm 25, and I've only ever heard like the Fox News headlines being negative about reparations. You know what I mean? I never really got an explanation from either side about how it was going to happen. So I was just wondering what your take was on that.
Yeah. So did you want to know the reason for why it should happen and how it was going to happen?
Yeah, I've basically, yeah.
All right. Yeah. So the American government was involved, not just the American government, but private companies were not just complicit, but deliberately caused the African-American community to be in poverty. And the majority of the contemporary issues that we see within the African-American community is because of that targeting by them, by the government and by private entities, not just slavery, but also black codes, even the war on drugs, redlining, especially redlining. That's the biggest one, etc. So, and of course, discrimination, Jim Crow, those things all set the black community back economically, socially, politically, etc. So because the government was involved in it, and because these private institutions were also involved in that, they should be the ones to repair it because they damaged the black community. So that's the reason why it should happen, and because it's simply the right thing to do. We've done it in our past history before. When Italian Americans first came to this country, in the largest group lynching ever happened, I think it was 34 Italian Americans who were lynched in New Orleans. The city of New Orleans, I think matter of fact, the governor of Louisiana paid them reparations. Japanese as well. When the Japanese were in internment camps, that damaged the Japanese community. They paid them reparations. That would happen in the 1980s under Ronald Reagan. You see what I'm saying? So when it comes to black people and people are somehow against it, even though we know this history that the government damaged the black community and all of a sudden it's a problem, it seems strange to me. That's what I would say. It's just the right thing to do, and there's a economic and moral reason and political reason for it. Now, how it should happen, I think there should be twofold. Number one should be straight up cash reparations, and number two should be institutional changes. Now, when it comes to cash reparations, you can mully around on how it should happen or how much it should be the case. I think most people settle around $100, $125, maybe $150,000 for African American communities, or families, I should say. Now, if it's going to families, that doesn't mean that some 5-year-old living in Detroit is going to get $125,000. He doesn't even have a bank account. You see what I'm saying? So to go to his parents, you know what I'm saying, or his parents or his grandmother or the family that he lives with, essentially, the black family that he has. If they're an orphan, I think that it should work out a different way. Probably could be kept in trust until they become of age, right? So it should go to those families, and those families could be able to economically build themselves up. That's number one. But the second thing I would say is institutional changes. Institutional changes mean to the criminal justice system. The criminal justice system we have now is basically slave catching. it doesn't only affect African Americans, even though it targets African Americans, but it doesn't only affect us. It also affects poor whites and poor Hispanics, because guess what? Poor whites and poor Hispanics are also part of the slave class. You know what I mean? So we're targeted first, African Americans, but poor Hispanics and poor whites are also the target, which is why, you know, the war on drugs needs to stop. So yeah, end the war on drugs, reform our entire criminal justice system. I would say tear it down and build it back up. But the most part, I would say, is our education system. What I would say is to put in a pilot program in all red line communities, those red line areas where the schools did not get the funding to go ahead and give Black children proper education. Not only do we properly fund those schools, not through taxes, but through federal dollars, we properly fund those schools. And within those schools, put a pilot program where every single student graduates with a trade, whether that's being an LPN, whether that's getting your CDL, whether that's being a welder, a plumber, whether that's getting some sort of certification in software engineering, or what's the other one? Cybersecurity, things like that. Whether you get any of those type of certifications, all of those should be for every single high school in those red line areas, and we know what they are too, because we have maps of them, literally maps of them. In those red line areas, those high schools should receive that pilot program, proper funding in those pilot programs, because once those kids graduate as some sort of CDL, as an LPN, as a plumber, as a cyber security officer, et cetera, they will be now be able to economically build themselves up, because now they'll graduate high school immediately with a certification in their hand in order for them to go into the workforce. And even if college doesn't work out for them, they can still fall back on their certification, and that would economically build up these communities. They don't have to leave these communities either in order for them to build themselves up. They can stay in these communities. They can be electricians in those communities. They can be plumbers in those communities, and be able to build those communities up as well. So those will be the two ways. That's my reason for doing it, and the way that we can do it. What do you think, Zeno?
So I appreciate the way you articulated that, because most people on the street, you know, they just stop at the headline and start screaming that over and over. That's the first time I've heard an actual explanation on it, and it makes a lot of sense where you're coming from. I just have a few more questions. So circling back to where you said it affects everybody, I can definitely resonate with that, because I grew up in Appalachia, specifically in a poor neighborhood that was ruined by industrialization. And I'm sure you've seen how all these private conglomerate corporations have ruined rural areas by over industrializing them without supporting the people within them through like the coal mines and stuff like that. My question is, would the reparations come on a rate in terms of who pays it? Would it come on an ethnic basis, or would it specifically be paid out on like a class level? Because I'm not, my family is immigrants on my dad's side. They came from Poland in the 19-teens, like during the Roosevelt era, Teddy Roosevelt. And my mom's side is Native, Cheyenne and Sioux. So my lineage didn't necessarily have an impact on what was made, the system that was made today. You see what I'm saying? And we can definitely agree that at least the two-party system has been failing. The most recent examples I can think of are Clinton with the crime bill, which was definitely meant to target African Americans at a way higher rate than white Americans, and Ronald Reagan with the whole war on drugs thing. That was probably one of the biggest fails in recent political history that I could think of.
Oh yeah. So you're Sioux Native. Yeah, you should get reparations too. Yeah, I've always said that. A Native American should definitely get reparations. I think the other group in America besides African Americans that have the best case for reparations are definitely the natives. Native Americans definitely deserve them. Like, you get no argument from me there. As far as Polish goes, I'm not sure how America affected the Polish community in America. I do know how Germany affected it, especially during World War I and World War II. But I don't know much of that history. That will have to go to someone who has more knowledge on that, I would say. But simply you telling me that you're Native, yeah, y'all deserve reparations too. Absolutely. Like
sure.
What I'll say, what was that monument, the colonizer mountain? I always call it colonizer mountain. Mount Rushmore. That needs to go back to the natives of that land. That needs to go back to them.
Yeah, after looking into it, I was raised by a bunch of Fox News Republicans, right? They bought into the they bought into the boomer ideology of take what all you can get, you know what I mean, without saving any for anybody else. And they grew up without consideration for anybody else. And I was taught that America was this whole great thing. And I think me and you can agree on that. Intervention with religion, and especially secret societies with like the Freemasons and things of the such, has had a hand in creating this toxic system. After studying all the presidents on Mount Rushmore, I think Teddy Roosevelt had, and he's obviously not perfect, right? He grew up before the era of integration and all this, before the push for equality in the modern world started to come. But I do think, at least economically, he had the best idea for America when it comes to talking about like a regulated capitalist system, preventing monopolies and all these big conglomerates that we have today, while also creating a social safety net for the common folk, you know, so that way, even without them being a CEO of company number one, right, they were still able to have a family and be able to be fairly well off. I was just wanting to know your opinion on that as well.
No, I agree with that, which is why I also support living wage. I'll support that living wage tied to the cost of living in your area and tied to inflation. I agree with that as well. Everything that I would like. Well, I don't have the topic here, but I always say leftist policies are better for society, specifically because of what you pointed out. You know what I mean? Like just like how you said, like over industrialization, how they did that. They also like what's not known by a lot of people is that the term redneck, it started from unions. Yeah, I mean, because they were putting red bandanas around their neck and, you know, holding up the bandana to their face and started calling them rednecks. That came from the unions. You know what I mean? So rural white people actually have a very leftist history. It's just that they, you know, just like how you said, Fox News, you know what I'm saying? Or the adjacent stuff, not just Fox News, but, you know, the AM radio stuff, you know, the Rush Limbaugh of the world. You know what I mean? They got into rural America and made them forget about their leftist history. But yeah, rural whites have a big leftist history about being against corporate abuse. You know what I mean? Like it was rural whites, and not just them, but city whites as well, who started workers unions. You see what I'm saying? Now there's racial issues there as well, and like we're not gonna deny that. But yeah, all of these things were started in those type of communities. You feel me? So I believe in like more companies, or not just companies, but more workplaces should be unionized. We need workplace democracy for people to live in dignity and get their wages right. It needs to be workplace democracy, unionize basically just about everything. You know what I mean? I think a lot of the economy needs to be nationalized as well. Healthcare should be nationalized, definitely. The defense industry, like Raytheon shouldn't be working for profits. They should be working for the American people. You know what I mean? That needs to be nationalized, all of that. A lot of energy needs to be nationalized too. BP and Shell shouldn't be working for their shareholders in order to make profit. They should be making that energy for us as Americans. We should be the shareholders, not some, you know, private island guy, in my opinion. That makes sense, Zeno?
Yes, sir. I also want to circle back. You mentioned Raytheon. I also had a question, or I also had a point to make that I also wanted your opinion on about the military-industrial complex. So it's not, obviously in a utopia, we wouldn't have to worry about it, right? But this isn't a utopia. America has done some things to make themselves out to be considered an enemy amongst the world, right? And in order to maintain a defensive strategic position, we need technological advancement superior to other countries. And obviously other things like us being surrounded by allies and our quote unquote enemies being an ocean away from us. You know what I mean? That was sort of given to us, but the stuff that we earned, like the defensive, what's it called? Like the budget allowing for technological advancement superiority and also quantity of said weapons and armaments. I was wanting to know your, I was just wanting to know your opinion on that, because obviously it's an unfortunate position we're in, but I think it's a necessary step that we have to take in order for us to survive as a union. But yeah,
I think we should cut the military budget by 50%, because we can spend 25% of what we currently spend and still be the most powerful military in the world. So yeah, just cut it by 50%. Yeah, I mean, like I do get the sentiment, right? People are concerned of, enemies being able to get in here and stuff like that. But our true enemy is our bullshit infrastructure, because right now our electric grid is trash, which
Fair
is
enough.
why our energy costs are going up, because our electric grid is trash, and our digital infrastructure is also trash. We get hacked all the time, surprisingly. You know what I mean? So all, a country like North Korea or some shit has to do is hack our grid, shut everything down, and we'll go to anarchy within an hour. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
all that needs to be updated. We need to reallocate that money into investing into our infrastructure, investing into renewable energy, investing into nuclear energy, I would say, so we can control the climate crisis that's happening right now. You know what I'm saying? We should cut much of that budget and reallocate it into there. That's what I would say, because we'll still be the most powerful military in the world, even with the 50% budget. We do have 1 minute left, Zeno, and I gotta go ahead and move on.
I got one more question. As to the social safety net, how would that be regulated first? Because all these you see nowadays, all these benefits are handed towards people that just came into the country, and rightfully so. If you're a U.S. if you come into the country seeking a better life, you should be given a hand up. But I firmly believe that people who are here first should at least be at the front of the line because they've been struggling under the system for the longest. You know what I mean? So I was just wondering your take on that.
So I used to work in social services, right? A lot of people tend to assume that if you just came into the country, you just get social services. That depends highly on where you live. Here in Florida, right? If you were a new entry from Haiti or Cuba, you had to, number one, have a work visa, and number two, be tied to a social. If you didn't have any of those, you didn't get anything. You didn't get food stamps, you didn't get cash assistance, you didn't get Section 8, you didn't get anything. You know what I'm saying? You were just asked out on your own. As a matter of fact, Florida is even more harsh, because like it doesn't even matter if you're poor and on the street. If you are not disabled, or a pregnant woman, or a child, you get nothing. Absolutely nothing. You see what I'm saying? Like they really don't care. So like that's one thing that I would say is a lot more complicated than people would make it. But that being said, I actually don't like the way that we do welfare in this country. This is gonna sound crazy to a lot of people, but if we are going to do welfare, just give them money, no questions asked. You know what I mean? Because every single pilot program that has done that, they've seen these people actually improve their lives. If they always either look for a better job, or they do overtime. Hold on. Or they do overtime at their job because they're going to get extra money anyway. Or if they quit their job, it's because they went back to school or spent more time with their kids. And not only that, when they did that to homeless people, just gave them money, no questions asked, majority of those homeless people, guess what they did? They found a place to live. So I think that's the way we need to do welfare. The people who are, of course, there's going to be means tests, et cetera, but the people who qualify for it, just give them money, no questions asked, and let them do what they want with it.
Fair enough. Thanks for the info, man. You have a good one.
Not a problem, Zeno. You have a good day. All right, y'all. I do appreciate y'all being here. We're gonna go ahead and keep it moving. Y'all, it is a queue. It is a queue. I do understand that there's a queue, and not everybody can stay, but I do appreciate y'all for being patient. Y'all, we're only at 14K likes. Let's get to 20K within the next few minutes, or I'll go ahead and shut off these comments. But let's get to 20K within the next 20 minutes, y'all. Let's go ahead and do that. I appreciate y'all. All right. Next one, it's Soso. Soso, can I get your age, and did you disagree with what I had on the board?
Yeah, man, what's going on? I'm 28, and I think I want to kind of go for there's no evidence for God. Have a conversation around that.
Got you. Pause for me real quick. Bundy, yeah. Can I get your age, and did you disagree with anything I had on the board? Bundy, you there? Bundy.
Yeah, what happened?
There you go.
What was the question?
Can I get your age, and did you disagree with something I had on the board?
Yeah, I disagree with damn near the whole board.
All right, you're from Facebook, right?
Yeah. You know,
finally.
we're supposed to have our
Yeah, finally, you're here. All right, cool.
Yeah, I know you're gonna remember me.
Gotcha. All right. So me and you is gonna go for a while. All right. So let me just make sure I get the other people out the way. Zealot, can I get your age, and did you disagree with anything?
Yeah, I'm 23, and pretty much everything on there is just bad. I don't agree with any of that at all.
Gotcha. All right. And Dun, age, and did you disagree with anything?
Yeah, 32, and I disagree about America not being great.
Gotcha. All right. So be patient with me. I'm going to go with So first, and then Bundy, then Zealot, and it's going to be you. All right. If you have to leave, just let me know. You can come back anytime. All right. I do appreciate you. All right. So how's it going, So? Let's go ahead and put that timer on the board. Yeah, I don't think there's any good evidence for a God. What would you say is some good evidence?
So there's like three different ways that we can approach it. We can either approach the fine-tuning of the universe, the morality, or the evidence for Jesus's resurrection. Now, obviously, if we spend a lot of time on all those, so I guess I'll kind of put it in your court, which one you want to really kind of hash out.
We can do all three, because I don't think any of those are evidence. When it comes to fine-tuning, a lot of people actually don't understand what it says. Yeah, the universe or the parameters of the universe are all within a certain parameters, right? And yeah, if you change one of them, then that means you get an unstable universe. But that's not how any of those parameters work. Once you change one, the rest of them are also going to change. And when that happens, like mathematical models have showed us, is that you can still get a stable universe. So when like, for example, how can I say this? It's like trying to make your car go without a battery, right? Yeah, sure. If you take out the battery, things are not going to work. But if you move the battery to another position, then it will work, right? So that's what really how the fine tuning is. It's not just you have to change one thing and then all of a sudden everything goes away. Everything has to change if you change that one thing. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. I think that, you're kind of bringing up, the idea of like these mathematical models that are obviously all, we're looking at theoretics of the kind of mathematical models. But at the end of the day, I mean, even if you shift something even a little bit, I mean, you're presuming that everything else would have to change. And I think that's a really hard kind of end to find yourself in. When you kind of look at the entirety of the universe from the beginning and the fact that everything pulls together in a very specific way for us to have life on this earth, you're gonna have a hard time finding a way to say that what you're saying is even true. But changing one thing would all of a sudden change the whole system. I mean, obviously. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, exactly. But I'm not just saying that. That's what the physicists say when it came to this whole fine tuning thing. They're like, folks don't understand what it means. Yeah, if you change the parameters of gravity, all of a sudden, atoms can't stay together. But that's not how any of this works. You have to change all the other things. Like, you can't change one thing and the rest of it stays the same. So that's not really, when it comes to fine tuning, it doesn't show that anything is designed. It just shows that, this is how our universe works. We can't step into another universe to see their parameters, right? But like in our universe, these are the parameters. But that doesn't mean that if you shift those parameters a little bit, all of a sudden nothing works. It can still work. It just won't be what we recognize.
Well, I mean, that's kind of all presumptuous, though. At the end of the day, what you're saying is if one thing changes, it presumes that everything changes. And even if these physicists are saying it, it's still a presumption, right? To say that, because you're going with your analogy, yeah, you can pull the battery out of the car's not going to work. Shifting the battery in a different place still means that other things have to change along with it. But it doesn't presume that if you move the battery, the other things will change. You see what I'm saying?
Right. No, I get what you mean. But what I'm saying is that when it comes to
give me like a specific example, so then we can like kind of, like if you took gravity, like let's say for example, like if you took gravity and that changed a little bit, and the next thing you know, like you said, that the condension of atoms can actually happen, like how would you then say that that's going to roll out to something that's even existent?
Right. What I'm saying is that what we recognize as existence, we probably wouldn't recognize it. What I'm saying is that the universes can still stay stable if you change parameters, but you just can't change one of them.
Based on that's not how. Though? That's what I'm trying to understand. Like you're saying it's true if that happens, but what is it based on?
That's based on the mathematical models.
Of what?
What I'm saying is that when it comes to the fine tuning argument, the argument is that if you change one of those parameters, but that's not how physics works. Once you change one thing, you got to change everything else.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of that's the argument, right? Saying that if you change one thing, it dismantles the entirety of the physics. And so what you're saying is that there's physical models that can prove that if you dismantle one thing, the entirety of it will change. I don't know if that, I mean, you're going to a whole world of theory then at that point.
Right. But what I'm saying is that that's what the models show. Every time if like, for example, you can't change gravity without changing the strong force and the weak force. All of it has to change at the same time. If you change gravity without changing the strong force and the weak force, yeah, things are not going to stay stable, but that's not how physics works. Everything changes once you change one thing.
Yeah, I mean, but that kind of works in my favor, though, because you're saying then physics breaks because everything else has to change around it, and then we have a completely unrecognizable universe because of that one thing that changes. It works in my favor.
No, it doesn't, because how does that work in your favor? Because it doesn't imply design. It just shows that natural processes follow natural processes. It doesn't really.
What it's showing is that you have to pull out of all of this theory to say that if one thing changes, everything else changes. And then we're looking at it like, yeah, in our reality of what we're looking at right now, the universe that's been created, you have one line of existence and one line of physics that exists. And you're saying it's a presumption. If you change one piece of the physics, that means the entire system has to change. It becomes something that we don't completely know of because we don't see that. And because we don't see it, then it's like it's completely broken, right? And that's my position. If everything breaks because of one small change, that's a proof that it was fine-tuned and intelligently designed, because it couldn't have been any other way for us to even exist in a physical reality, because everything is tied together. We're not even just talking about Earth. It's the entirety of the universe that's pulled together by these things.
That's only true for our universe. You can still get a stable universe under different parameters. That's what I'm saying.
Well, no, but that's all theoretical, though. You once again, it's pulling up. You're saying that there's other universes that can't exist.
Yeah, there is, according to what the mathematical models say. What I'm saying is that we can't step into another universe, right? This is the only universe that we have. We can only see in this universe, and this universe, these are the parameters, right? So what I'm saying is that when they run these models and say, can a stable universe exist under different parameters? And it shows that yes, a stable universe can exist under different parameters. We just can't get to those universes, of course. Like that's not the case.
Right.
But what I'm saying is that this is only for.
I get it. So
what I'm saying is,
in the sense of like,
I get you, but what I'm trying to say is that that doesn't really show that our universe is somehow like design or anything like that. Because again, like I told the first person that was here, we have nothing to compare this to. Yeah, I mean, this is the only universe we have. So what are we comparing it to say that it's design?
So would you consider yourself a materialist, like a naturalist in that sense?
In that sense, yeah, a little bit, but I don't really go by philosophical labels. There's just the information I have on hand.
It's a philosophical label based on the science and observation, right? And based on what you're saying, you're going off of scientific observation of what's knowable, seeable, and testable. Would you agree?
Yeah, it was knowable, seeable, and testable. Yeah, I would agree with that. For the most part, I'm pretty sure if we go down a litany of things, there's going to be something that I can't know, see, or test.
Correct. So then would you imply then that there is a metaphysics that does exist outside of our natural realm of scientific understanding?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the problem, right? Because if we rule everything into our own scientific understanding of things, and science can't even prove itself, then we're like based on our own philosophical understanding of things at that point. Because if we can't prove something outside of science has a presupposition that there's nothing outside of it that's not provable, but we can't even prove that science itself even exists, if that makes sense. You see where I'm coming from, like a philosophical point
science is a process. It's not a thing that exists.
Well, no, you stating it's a thing that exists in order to prove other things is saying that it's a thing. Like that's when you're using it like it's a thing, though.
No, I'm not.
So what is science then?
Science is a process. It's a process of discovery. It's a process of observation, experimentation. It's a process
in a physical reality, right?
In our physical reality, yeah, because that's the only thing we can do. Like we can't step into a non-physical reality.
Well, so would you say then that there's a non-physical reality that exists or no?
I don't know.
What would help you to like have that proof? Like, what do you need to know that there's a supernatural existence in the world?
Evidence.
Okay, cool. I mean, we can move. Then we have to move into philosophical debates at that point, like having the conversation of mind, consciousness, what exists beyond us, like all of those types of questions. Then have to get into the mix.
But that won't be evidence. Like we can philosophize all we want. That doesn't establish existence.
But then you're boxing it in that science is the only thing that can prove anything, and then we get locked.
Like when science is the only thing that can prove it, I would say, yeah, the scientific process is the best process we have right now to show anything that exists. But if we're gonna philosophize, we can philosophize about dragons. That doesn't mean dragons exist.
Well, no, we need
to have something to show it exists.
We need to have an understanding of what the philosophy of things are, right? I mean, like imagination is different than what philosophy is, right? Philosophy is the idea of like using our logic and reasoning to understand the things that are and the things that can be based off of our true understanding of what the world is, you know?
I get that. What I'm saying is that we can go back and forth with philosophy all day. at a certain point, in order to establish existence, we need to have something that actually proves it. And saying and philosophizing all day doesn't actually establish that. Because
right, so this is kind of where the paradox. Yeah, exactly. This is where the paradox happens, right? Because the only thing that you can rely on is science. But
that's the only
then
thing
you have
any of us can rely on. Tell you the truth.
Well, 100%. So then you can't. So you just saying I don't know outside of science makes this makes any type of conversation about metaphysics like almost incomprehensible, right? So it's very difficult. But then we have to have a conversation about consciousness, right? And then we have to understand like what is our human thought. And can that truly be scientifically explained, which has been a gray area, very hard to even prove scientifically where consciousness even comes from.
Yeah, it's a gray area from what we have. It's probably like an emergent property, but there's no way we don't fully know that yet. But all I'm saying is that when it comes to all of this, right? What I'm trying to say is that I think my position is saying I don't know is pretty honest, because I do not know if a supernatural world exists, and I don't think us just philosophizing all day is how we know it. We know things through through some hard evidence, and if we don't have any of that, then we just won't know. It's the same thing. It's the same thing with something like physical, right? Because people talk about aliens and UFOs. Yeah, Q packs from the planet Oberon that has a purple sky could exist, right? We can philosophize about that all day. But I don't have any way to establish that that's true. So I don't know if
right. Well, so right, but I mean, you're stretching out to something. So what I'm kind of, I guess, alluding to is the idea that you have a science-based concept, but philosophy is going to be what has to fill the gaps, right? Because it comes to a point where you can't scientifically prove consciousness, but you're thinking, and that's evidence that it's true, that something exists, that your consciousness does exist. But science and materialism is going to put you into a box where the only thing that you can do to describe that is firing neurons in the brain. But you and I can both agree that doesn't necessarily prove that consciousness is just that. And that's where we have to, we can't, there comes to a point where like, there's obviously evidence for that. Scientifically speaking, you even existing, you and I having a conversation is proof that consciousness exists, but we can't scientifically prove that. So that's what I mean. Like there are things that do exist that you can't prove by science, but it does exist and it is true. And we know that. And and that's where we can move into like morality if you really wanted to,
but if when it comes to consciousness, right? Yeah, just like how you said before, we can't show that firing neurons and the chemicals in our brain, that's the only thing consciousness is. We can't prove anything beyond that. But one thing that is very, very important is that we've never detected consciousness without that. So that may be all it is. It might just be an emergent property because we haven't detected consciousness without any of that. There's never been a brain that we've seen that doesn't have chemicals, not firing neurons, but consciousness is there. That's never happened. So it's basically that, or that's all the proof that we have that it is.
Right. So, I mean, once again, it kind of lands us in an interesting spot, right? So, I mean, I don't got a lot of time. I mean, I want to hash out morality with you because we hit the idea of metaphysics and morality kind of goes right into that. I don't know if you got a quick moment to at least chat about it, but.
Let's see. I can put a few more minutes on the board. Give me a second. My Bluetooth mouse stopped working.
No, I appreciate you, bro. Appreciate it. This is actually my first time actually having this type of conversation, so I appreciate you.
No problem. We got a few more report. Yeah. So when it comes to morality, I think just about all of it is based on empathy and our propensity to be like, we're a social species, right? So we all want to live and get along and survive, and that's how basically most social species basically try to get along with each other. No one tries to antagonize their neighbor, right? Because that's not a good way for us to survive. So I think our morality mostly comes from empathy. But you think it comes from somewhere else?
Well, yeah, I mean, so then we have to have the conversation of, do you believe that there is a moral truth beyond our existence, beyond, like, is there a moral law that exists, or is it truly just our own relative understanding of what morality is, good and bad?
From what I can ascertain, it's mostly just what it is, because I'm not sure what beyond our existence would even mean at that
so
point.
I mean, true. So like with or without, so like, let's say the color blue is there, right? With or without you, me looking at that, and obviously our perception of blue, the color blue, and all of the combinations that happen in physics to make that color blue, like that will exist with or without us being there. You know what I mean? Like that object will exist with or without our consciousness of it. So what I'm saying is that there's a moral truth that exists in and outside of our own conscious understanding of what morality is, and that's hence why we even have labels of good and bad. and evil.
Yeah, but the thing is about that is that when it comes to colors, right, those comes in actual wavelengths like photons. When something that's actually physical. When it comes to morality, it's not. So how do we even show that there's something beyond? Like what do we do? Like
Well, we have to look at the idea of generally like moral truths that have to be laid down as principles and what we can see throughout history in our, because morality is going to have to be human. That's kind of where we have to stick it with, because morality outside of humans is going to be difficult to do anything with, right?
Yeah.
So all things considered, you'd have to say that either it's always good to do X or it's always bad to do X, but you have to have a justification for it. And having a relative justification for it's not strong enough, because then I can say, I feel this way, you feel that way, but what's the truth? Does that make sense?
Yeah, but we can look at the consequences.
I mean, that's true, but even then, there's still consequences that didn't happen for people that did bad things that you and I would consider bad things in the past.
Right. No, of course, but we have to look at the not the consequences of just that person, but the consequences of what they did, like overall to like either the other person or to society as a whole, like what harm or pro-social consequences did they cause, either pro-social or anti-social, like what was caused by them doing that. Like, for example, there are people being enslaved right now in the Congo, right? And I'm pretty sure there are like adults being bad with children or the e-files. You know what I'm saying? Some of those people, like for example, Jeffrey, we know he didn't kill himself, but he's dead now, right? So we can say that he never really got his consequence, but there are negative consequences to what he did, and we see that right now, the trauma that he caused to those children, those adults who are still living with it. Those are still consequences, even though he didn't get one. See what I mean?
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying from that. I guess like what I'm trying to also point out is it's not just, I think we can all agree there's like a bigger picture to this, and I don't want to take more time if I need to. I'll try to make the point and then we can kind of move on if you need to. But we can all agree on some very obvious principles that have happened in reality and past that's kind of proved that, right? E-files, like egregious acts that happen towards each other physically, death, murder, all of these things we can get down to. But then we have to kind of move down into a different tier of is it or is it not, right? And whether or not, like, for example, like lying in certain situations, right? You can't say like all lies are bad either, right? But at the end of the day, there's gonna be a principle as to how lies are actually gonna be portrayed and really where that's gonna come from. And there's gonna be go ahead.
No, I was gonna let you finish, but I was gonna say, yeah, I agree with that, and that for me, it goes back to consequences, because there are lies that are gonna happen, right? Like the common argument is the Anne Frank argument. Like, would you stop the Nazis from taking Anne Frank? Yeah, I will lie about that, because the consequences of her family being found out is that they're going to be, brutal, like killed in a brutal fashion. And the consequences of me lying to them is that I save people's lives. You see what I'm saying? So, but then you have another consequence of, cheating on your wife. If you lie about it, and then, she finds out, what happens? You traumatize your wife, you end your marriage. If you have children, they're probably not going to trust you anymore. You cause a whole bunch of negative consequences. So like that's why it goes back to me to, how do we say something is right or wrong? Even if you feel one way, not for another way, look at the consequences.
Yeah. All right, cool, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time.
All right, not a problem. Hey, I appreciate you. So come back anytime. All right.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. I do appreciate y'all being here. Hey, Bundy, if you don't mind giving me a second, I gotta get my mouse to start working again. Give me 1 second. All right, I'll be back, you guys. Y'all keep tapping that screen. Don't worry, I didn't leave. I'm just All right. Sorry about that, y'all. I just had to do something really quickly. All right, Bundy, it's been a long time coming. And yeah, you can you can always join anytime. All right, Bundy, for you, I'm gonna go ahead and hey, what's going on, Caddy? All right, so Bundy, for you, I'm gonna go ahead and put 20 minutes on the clock because we've needed to have this for a while. So let me go ahead and put 20 minutes on the clock, and we can go down the line. All right.
Yeah.
I'll give everybody else the same chance too. Zealot, I'll give you 20 minutes, and Apostle, I'll give you 20 minutes as well. All right. So, Bundy, you said that you disagree with what I had on the board. Cool.
Yeah.
Start with 1, and we can go down the list.
All right. Yeah. So let's start off with America was never great. Why do you feel like America was never great?
When I talk about greatness, I'm not just talking about military or economic might. I'm talking about pro-social institutions that you build for your community and your principles, right? So if your America does have stated principles that are pro-social, that are pro-freedom, that are talk about freedom, liberty, justice for all, equal opportunity for all, et cetera, et cetera. That's what those are the stated principles of it. If those are your stated principles, you're supposed to build institutions that actually spread that to everybody, especially your citizens that do not have power. We've seen within American society that not only has America failed at doing that, many times they fight against it, even now to this day. So if that's the case, if your stated principles are to spread the equal opportunity for all, spread freedom for all, spread liberty and equality for all, and you do not do that, your institutions do not do that, you cannot be great.
So you feel like it was the government's job to create those institutions for us, or you think it's the citizens' job to create those institutions?
Both. The citizens can create it. As not only that, there are government institutions, right? Yeah, so that's why there are government institutions and there are private institutions. So the government institutions were supposed to create it and expand it, and with the private institution, they're supposed to protect it when it comes to them, and they failed at both.
All right. So specifically, what exactly could the government have created that you like? Give me an example of what they could have created that they didn't create to help us.
An equal education system, because our education system is built off of taxes and or property taxes, and we all know that Black people were redlined, and even immigrant Black people who came in were also redlined. And because those taxes, because if you're in a redline area, you're not going to get the proper taxes to fund your schooling. You're going to get poorer education. The government could have also, like, we know this is one around Jim Crow, could have allocated the resources equally, and they did not.
Okay. So now, when you say the government, right, you mean, United States and not Florida or any other states, right?
Yeah, I mean
the federal government.
I mean the federal government, and I mean the states.
All right, but you said private institutions.
Yeah, private institutions as well. Wells Fargo was involved in discrimination, so were private hospitals.
Hold on. But if you wanted to create an institution for your community, would you be able to do that? Or have you ever tried?
That depends.
What does it depend on?
That depends on what we're talking about.
All right, like, have you done anything productive, like you yourself, because you complaining about what the government hasn't done, but you yourself, have you done anything productive to help your community? Like, start anything, like a nonprofit?
Yes, I'm part of a nonprofit right now called Black Men Build. Every last Saturday of the month, we talk to Black men in our community about what's going on with their families, with their mental health. I'm also studying to be a mental health counselor, and I'm going to be I'm going to be a counselor for at-risk youth, and I've also mentored at-risk youth as well, and I also volunteer.
Okay. Let me ask you a quick question. You were born in this country?
Yep.
So you're an American?
Yep.
Okay, but you got Haitian parents?
Yep.
Just like me. Well, I'm Haitian too. You should know that from Facebook, but I'm Haitian too. So why do you think if this country wasn't so great, why did your parents migrate here?
Economic opportunity.
Isn't that a good thing?
I told you I don't measure greatness by that.
But did you not benefit from it?
Of course I did.
So isn't that a good thing?
It's a good thing that I benefited from it, yeah.
So that doesn't make the country great?
Nope.
Okay, so you just don't like America, period, even though you're born here and they gave you all the opportunities that you got right now.
Bundy, what did I say how I measure greatness? What did I say?
I got you on what you were saying. I got you.
Then you're not arguing what I'm talking about.
But the reality is you just admitted to me that you appreciate the benefit of coming to this country. So if it wasn't great, you wouldn't appreciate it.
I would appreciate France if I lived there. That doesn't make France great either.
No. It would make France a great country because you haven't actually lived there. So what you're saying is something theoretical. We talking about here. We live in America. Me and you, right. we black men.
So Bundy,
you saying America is not great because the government didn't do this and that, but this is
that shows me that you're not listening.
No. No, yes, you told me that the government did not provide equal opportunities for the citizens, right? For black people, right?
Yeah, that's a bad thing.
Okay.
Hold on, Bundy, slow down for me. Hold on, wait, Bundy, slow down for me. The government not protecting equal opportunity for Black Americans or for Black people, period, which led to economic and social stagnation for Black people. Do you think that's a bad thing?
I don't believe that what you're saying is true.
What was Jim Crow?
Jim Crow was Jim Crow, that era. You know, the Jim Crow South.
But Bundy, you're not answering my question. Hold on, wait. You're not answering my question.
Hold on.
Bundy, wait. Hold on, wait. You're not answering my question. Hold on, wait. No. I'm not gonna wait. You're not actually answering my question.
Do you think Jim Crow was bad or good for Black people?
Jim Crow was bad, of course.
No, it was good.
No, it was bad. But
Black people were better. Black people were better under Jim Crow.
Hey, Bundy, you know what happened under Jim Crow? Graduation rate was 10%. College enrollment.
Yes, it was not.
No.
Black
Hold on, be quiet.
Way better under Jim Crow.
Okay, so under Jim Crow, poverty was 60%. Life expectancy was 55 years old. Graduation from high school was 12%. Literacy was 25%. How is that a good thing? Not only that, there were massive lynchings of Black people all around the country during Jim Crow. How is that a good thing? You can unmute yourself.
Yeah, I understand that Black people was like probably more fucked up under that time. They didn't have like certain things, but Black people was definitely better under Jim Crow than they is now. Like
Bundy, but hold on. You need to answer this question.
But we
hold on, wait.
Check your numbers, though.
Bundy.
You spit out a whole bunch of numbers.
Bundy, how is 60% poverty a good thing?
How is 60% poverty a good thing? What is 60% poverty? The black poverty was 60%?
It was 60%. Remember, you have to remember something. Hold on, you have to remember 25. You have to remember something, Bundy. Not everybody was living in Rosewood. Not everybody was living in Tulsa. Not everybody was living in Seneca Village. The majority of Black people were not living in those places, bro.
I understand that.
Okay, so the poverty rate back then was 60%. I'm not sure how that's a good thing.
Listen, Jim Crow and segregation.
Life expectancy was 55 years old.
Jim Crow and segregation was not a bad thing.
Bundy, how is 60% poverty with a life expectancy of 55 years old a good thing? How is that good? Because Haiti right now, hold on, wait, Bundy. Haiti right now is 50% poverty. And you see how messed up it is over there with 50% poverty. Black America during Jim Crow was 60% poverty. And that's a good thing?
Yes, that was a good thing. That was a good thing. Do you think
you cooning right now, my nigga?
All right, so black. So
this some crazy shit you're saying.
So you tell me the condition of black people is better now than it was under Jim Crow.
Yes, it's better now.
How,
bro? 60% poverty.
I don't think
25% poverty.
No. The way black people
60% poverty.
What you were saying,
20% poverty, bro.
Okay, so do black people treat each other better now, or did we treat each other better during Jim Crow? Because you was talking about morality. Let's talk about that. Do they treat each other better in Jim Crow, or do they treat each other better now? How you gonna tell me we not worse now?
It's the same. Huh? It's the same.
It's the same.
It's the same.
How is it the same? Because when I just said it was the same a minute ago, you said no, it was 60%.
You said morality.
All right. No, it is not the same.
Yeah,
you're trying to tell me that black people, the way black people were sticking together back then, we sticking together the same way now? Are you drinking?
Yeah, because back then was the civil rights movement. We don't have a civil rights movement going on right now.
Okay, so we
do have a civil rights movement going on right now. We actually do have a civil rights movement going on right now. That's wrong. We actually have a civil rights movement going on right now. I'm correcting myself. I'm going to correct myself. We actually do have a civil rights movement going on right now.
What civil rights movement? Right now?
Yeah, like the everything with Black Lives Matter. Every time we protest police violence, I don't think the civil rights movement actually ever really ended. We still have it.
I don't think that's. I mean,
it's not at that level, right?
It falls under civil rights, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't necessarily, even though a lot of black people don't like this, but I don't necessarily believe in the whole Black Lives Matter movement. Because
that's fine, that's cool. Back then, people didn't believe in the civil rights movement. No black people didn't believe in the civil rights movement back then. But what I'm saying, when it comes to America, was never great. You just can't look at the economics of the situation, because guess what? Are you going to move to?
Yes,
are you going to
listen?
Hold on, wait.
If America wasn't great, why would everybody fight to come here? Explain that.
Because two reasons. No, number one, you break it, you buy it. When American foreign policy has actually damaged a lot of these countries that people are coming from, right? So because they do that and they suck out their resources and they brain drain them, that's why people come over here, right? Because that's where the opportunities is. That's number one. Well, actually, that's both of them. That's number one and number two. Because American foreign policy has damaged these countries, including Haiti, the economic opportunity then comes to America. So in order for those people to build their lives up, in order to live a better life, they're going to come to the United States. And the United States is not the only one. It's just the one that has proximity. Hold on. I'm not done.
Okay, go ahead.
The United States is not the only one. It's just the one that has proximity to most of the immigrants that are here. The other countries, such as the UK, also get a lot of immigration. The UK doesn't get a lot of immigration.
No, that's not what I was saying. Not true.
Okay,
you said
hold on, wait. Let me finish.
But we got a lot of Asians.
Let me just finish it, bro.
We got a lot of Asians here.
Let me just finish it, bro.
At all.
Let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
We don't have a lot of Asians here. Of course, we don't have a lot of Asians here. Asians are 5% of the country, bro.
And how much are black people?
12.
Okay, so
we don't have a lot of Asians here.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of black people.
We don't have a lot. Bro, let me finish what I'm saying, bro.
12% is not a lot.
Let me finish what I'm saying. We don't have a lot of Asians here because a lot of East Asian countries are already well off. Japan, China, and Korea are already well off. So we're not going to get a lot of immigration from there.
They still come here, though.
Yeah, we know they still come here. But those places are well off. So we don't have a lot of people from there. We don't have a lot of people from, we don't have a lot of people from France. But in France as well, we still get people from France, right? So countries that are already industrialized and do well, you're not gonna get a lot of immigration from there. You're gonna get a lot of immigration from the third world, right? And not only that, you're gonna get a lot of proximity. The majority of immigrants in the United States come from the Caribbean and South and Central America. That's where the majority of them come from. Proximity. When it comes to Europe, a lot of their immigration comes from Eastern Europe and from Africa because of proximity. They're closer. That's why you don't have a lot. You have when it comes to the black groups in America, right? It's African Americans, Jamaicans, and Haitians. We're the majority of black people in America. And fourth place is Nigerians, right? There's not a lot of Nigerians here. There's about 500, 600,000 Nigerians in America. There's about 1 million Haitians and about 2 million Jamaicans. Proximity. It's proximity, bro. That's what I'm saying. Most Nigerians go to the UK.
I get that, but there's millions of Africans here though, from the continent of Africa. You just singled out Nigeria. Like there's not West Africans here, South Africans. It's all type of people from that same continent.
I know that they are, bro. I know that they are.
So
but they mostly go to really Europe.
Work.
Listen, that's what I'm saying, bro.
All of them are coming here for a reason.
Bundy,
they
could
go to Europe. Africa is right next to Europe. Why would they come all the way to America?
Bundy, the majority of immigrants in Europe are from Africa. That was my point, bro. And yes, there are about 1 million people from the continent of Africa in America. That's not my point. I'm saying the majority of them go to Europe due to proximity.
So name me a country better than America then.
That's not my point.
But you saying America was never great. Name me a country that's greater than America. If it was never great, you should easily be able to name one.
The point. You're missing the point.
Nah, man. If you can't name a country that's greater than America, then America's great.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. You just gonna admit it.
Did America protect the equal rights of Black people? Yes or no?
Yeah, they did.
When?
Right now, I'm here. I got opportunities here in America. I'm living proof. And people before me, my immigrant parents came here and was able to come up off of this soil and the opportunity that they found here. So how can I say that this country's not great?
I'm not denying that we got. I'm not denying Bundy. I am not denying that we got opportunity here. I'm not denying that, bro.
Yeah.
But when it comes to equal opportunity, that's still not protected because guess what? There is still discrimination in every single institution in America.
Like a victim,
Bundy, stop doing that, bro. Bundy, stop doing that. Bundy, stop doing that. Bundy, stop doing that. Bundy, I didn't say anything about the government. I didn't say the government in this case, bro. That's not what I said.
It sound like that. It sounds like you're just crying about.
Okay, that's because you don't shut the fuck up for a second and actually listen. When I talk about equal rights, when I talked about equal opportunity, when I say equal opportunities are not equal, I didn't say anything about the government, bro. I'm not saying about the government. I'm talking about equal opportunity when it comes to about equality, when it comes to the healthcare, when it comes to real estate, when it comes to employment. Hold on, Bunny, let me finish. When it comes to healthcare, when it comes to employment, when it comes to actual social treatment and discrimination, Black people are not equal in those cases. And I can prove that. I can prove that. Bundy, have you ever heard of the Veil of Darkness study?
Nah, what is that?
Okay. The Veil of Darkness study looked at 90 million traffic stops. What they did is they looked at traffic stops in the morning and they looked at traffic stops at night. What they found out is that traffic stops in the morning, Black drivers were the majority of drivers who were stopped and searched. And remember, when they looked at those stopped and searches, right? They didn't find any citations for these people. They found less citations. They found less weapons. They didn't find any of this, and they equalized for everything. They equalized for the crime of the area. They equalized for crime, the criminal record of the drivers, everything like that, right? And what they found was that cops were continually stopping Black drivers, even though they were not committing a crime. Then when they came to nighttime, where it's harder for you to see the race of the driver, the stops equaled out. This study shows that Black drivers are being targeted. If there's not discrimination in America, especially when it comes to criminal justice, how do you explain that?
So you trying to tell me that Black people don't commit more crimes?
No.
Well, we don't?
No.
Nah, I live with criminals, bro.
So did I. I grew up in Little Haiti, bro.
All right. So you ain't finna tell me that we don't commit more crimes.
We don't.
We don't. Yes, they do.
We don't.
Yes,
the majority of people arrested for rape are white. The majority of people arrested for assault are white. The majority of people who are arrested for arson, violent arson, meaning to hurt somebody, are white. 77% of the convictions for child pornography and child abuse and child sexual abuse are white men. The majority of mass shooters are white men. The majority of serial killers, white men. So black people do not commit the majority of the crimes. 45% of the arrests, according to the FBI, 45% of the arrests are white men. So saying that black people commit most of the crime does not match up with the numbers.
So how do we populate majority of the prisons if we don't all these crimes?
We don't. The prison population is 32% black. We don't.
Get out of here.
You're wrong. Okay, you want me to look it up?
Get out of here.
Prison population by race.
Get out
Prison
of
population
here.
by race.
32%. Even 32% is a high amount.
All right. Federal Bureau of Prisons 2026. 38.4% black.
All right.
3% Native
That's
American.
Federal prisons.
Hold on. Let me listen. 34% black, 3% Native American, 1% Asian, 57% white.
That's federal prison.
Now in state prisons, you're correct. Now in
go.
state prisons, black people are 34, white people are 32.
Hispanics are what?
Hispanics are 21. But guess what? A lot of the Hispanics are actually white.
Listen, man. Listen, when you're talking to somebody that's been there. I've been locked up 17 times. When it comes to that, bro, like, I understand every now and again you're gonna find somebody that's probably locked up and they probably innocent, but the number is less than 1%, bro. I guarantee you.
Hold on. You said
everybody's not really
your claim.
targeted.
Hold on, Bundy. Yeah. Number one, you didn't actually address my previous point. The study that I showed about the Veil of Darkness study objectively shows that black drivers are being targeted. Objectively.
Okay. That's
number one.
That's drivers.
But hold on. Stop. Bundy, wait, stop. Number two, when it comes to crime, the majority of people who are arrested in this country for crime are white. And the majority of the heinous crimes, convictions are white. And the majority of exonerations, not just for murder, but for the majority of crimes, exonerations, meaning that they were wrongfully convicted, are black. Which shows that we are being targeted, Bundy. You cannot deny that. So when you say, hold on, wait. I completely debunked you, bro. We do not commit the majority of crimes. We do not commit the majority of crimes, bro.
It's a straw man you're making.
We do not commit the majority of crimes. We do not commit the majority of crimes because, hold on, how do we commit the majority of crimes when 77% of the arrests for convictions for child sexual abuse are white men? So how do we commit the majority?
You're singling out one charge.
Okay, what are all the other charges?
White people are known.
What are all the other charges?
That's like saying 100% of the mass school shootings were done by
Bundy. Let's go down all of the crimes. Shut the fuck up. It's not your turn.
Then why do you guys
let's go down all the crimes. Let's go down all the crimes, right?
Let's do it.
All right, let's go down all the crimes. Name a crime.
Okay, let's go burglary.
Burglary, I think that's white.
Burglary,
robbery is black. Robbery is black. I think burglary is right.
Burglary? Go look it up. Who do more burglaries, white people or black people?
Give me a second.
They got songs glorifying burglaries. Are you crazy?
I'm talking about robbery. I'm not talking about burglary. I'm talking about robbery. That's two different things.
Burglaries, robberies, somebody, a company inside the house is empty. It don't matter.
All right. So burglary arrests are 28% black. Yeah. And they're 62% white.
On what are you getting your stats from?
The FBI.
The FBI what?
Jesus fucking Christ. The FBI, bro.
The FBI what? They're not sitting in front of your face. Tell me the website so I can look it up.
I'm talking about FBI.gov, the crime stats, the crime tables.
And it says what? Burglaries by are 62%. Because I want to see this for myself. Like, you don't even want to fact checking it. You said 62% burglaries. And this is what year?
Matter of fact, no, you're right. That was teenagers. That was juveniles.
All right,
you're right. That was juveniles. No, that was juveniles. No, you're right. That was juveniles. That was juveniles.
Stop playing with me.
That was juveniles. All right. So, all right. I know. That's that. I didn't call you dumb. That's juveniles, though. That's juveniles.
All
The
right.
majority of I'm looking at it right now, though. I'm looking at the table 43, right? It says burglary, right? Total amount of burglaries, 118,000. Black people were 34,000, and white people were, guess what? 81,000. So they're the majority of burglaries.
Okay. So what's the website you looking at again?
Again, table 43, FBI.
Say the whole website so I could put it over here on my iPad.
Type in FBI. Table 43. It should be the first one.
All right.
Yeah. Now let's look at rape. 11,000 for white, 4,000 for black.
Statistics. Hold on. These statistics are based off of what? What per capita? What is it based off of?
These are just numbers, just pure numbers.
This is numbers based off of what, though?
Arrests.
It got to be based off of something.
Arrests.
Is this national arrest, state arrest? What is it?
This is national, bro. It's the FBI. That's the federal government. It's national arrest.
But this is for federal crimes.
No, robbery is not a federal crime. These are state. This is what the state police, this is what the police departments around the country give to the FBI.
Okay, let me see. But go
you
ahead.
Keep saying that we commit the majority of crimes and we don't.
We
rape
do.
Again, rape.
Do.
Hold on. Rape. 11,000. Hold on, Bundy, be quiet. 11,000 white. Hold on, wait. No. You're not gonna stop me, bro. You're not gonna stop me. No. Not gonna stop me from debunking. Hold on. You no. You're not gonna do that. You said we commit the majority of the crime, and now that we have the numbers right in front of us, and you see that white people are the majority of people who are arrested for these crimes, now you're saying, oh, we're less of the population. Nah, bro. You're not gonna do that, bro. You're not gonna do that. The majority of crimes are committed by white people. Obviously, because they're most of the country.
80% of the country.
Yeah. But you said we commit the majority of the crime. Bundy. You said we commit the majority of the crime.
We do.
How? You just admitted that white people are 80% of the country. So they're gonna commit the majority of the crime.
Yes. But
so which one is it, Bundy?
No.
Which one is it, Bundy?
We commit more crimes.
No, we don't.
You try to make
we do not.
We're targeted.
No, we do not.
What you try to make a scene with your
we do not. The numbers don't. The numbers do not prove your point, bro.
So Bundy, what you're trying to say?
I'm gonna mute you again, bro. I'm gonna mute you again because you said we commit the majority of the crime. How can that be the case? Okay, so Bundy, is 4 million bigger than 1 million?
No.
4 million is not bigger than 1 minute. 1 million?
No, 4 million is bigger than 1 million.
Okay, cool. So the number of white people arrested for crimes, 4,729. Black people, 1,815. So they're committing most of the crimes, right?
No, we are.
All right, bro. You're stupid, bro. You're stupid. I'm sorry. No. I can't do this. You already admitted that 4 million is bigger than 1 million, and you still gonna say that we commit the most. 4 million is bigger than 1 million. Are you stupid? 4 million is bigger than 1 million. And when I say this group got 4 million arrests, this group got 1 million arrests, who's committing more crime? The one with 1 million? Are you stupid? Jesus, Joseph and Doggy Style Mary. Are you stupid? No, seriously, Bundy, do you have a problem? Were you trolling me this entire time? How you gonna say we committed the majority of the crime? All right, bro. I can't do this. I can't do this. All right. Zealous, I'm going to give you 20 minutes as well. Zealous. Let's go ahead and move on. All right, Zealous. What did you disagree with?
I pretty much everything, but I mean, I'll just go off of what Bunny was saying. Like, your weakness is literally per capita. Like, it's disproportionate. Like,
it's capita is controlled by population as well.
Yeah, but it's disproportion.
I understand that it's disproportion. I understand disproportion, right? So what we have to talk about is that why is it disproportioned?
Because blacks tend to break more of the crimes. I mean, it's just a simple answer.
No, that's not a simple answer because again, 4 million arrests compared to 1 million. So that means that because you can't use proportion and then say we commit more of the crime because now you're Now you're conflating two different things. There's proportion and there's pure numbers. Which one are you going with? If you're going by pure numbers, it's white people. So you can't say that we commit the majority of the crime and then say, oh, it's proportion. Is it proportion or is it pure numbers? Which one?
I'm not saying the majority of the crime. I'm saying it's a disproportionate amount of the crime. That's what I'm saying. If black people were the same population as white people, they'd be committing like 6 times more of the violent crimes.
Incorrect. You can't make that assumption. But when it comes to proportionality, right? What you gotta understand is that black people are represent disproportionately amount of the crimes compared to their population, but we also have a disproportionate amount of the poverty compared to our population as well, because we're 25% in poverty, but 12% of the population. So does poverty follow crime and proximity?
Yeah, sure, yeah, but even then, it's like,
so if poverty follows crime, to poor whites. So if poverty follows crime and proximity, then that means that the people who are within the worst amount of poverty with the most amount of proximity, which tends to be black people because we live in urban areas, and those areas are worse off in poverty, you're going to see a disproportionate amount of crime. So that'll be the reason for it. Do you think there's another reason for it?
No, there's a bunch of reasons for it, but the thing is that you can't even say it's economic factors, because you guys are disproportionate welfare. You know, like Section 8 housing, EBT. So that's
economic.
That's economic. You're getting government aid, so you can't just say it's.
Do white people get government aid?
Well, yeah, of course, but it's a disproportionate amount. I'm not saying.
Irrelevant.
You can't say it's just
irrelevant. Irrelevant. The reason why it's irrelevant. The reason why it's irrelevant. The reason why it's irrelevant. Hold on, zealous. Stop doing that, bro. Stop doing that. The reason why it's irrelevant is because, number one, you just can't say black people get Section 8. Do you know how Section 8 works?
Please educate me. Let's waste our time and educate me how that works, please.
Oh, you want? So you think it's a waste of time because it actually debunks your point. Section 8 is a lottery, so it's not black people getting Section 8. You actually win Section 8. If you ever played a lottery, you know how those odds are. Section 8 is literally a lottery, right? So when you say black people get Section 8, you're actually committing an error there. We don't just get just get Section. You don't just get housing for being black. Like, for example, do you think I'm on Section 8 right now, or am I living in my nice apartment?
Honestly, I don't know.
I know you don't know. But I'm living in a nice apartment. I don't get Section 8 just because I'm black. You just can't say black people get Section 8. Number one, all people in poverty can sign up for Section 8. And number two, it's a lottery. Second thing, when it comes to EBT, yeah, all people who are poor get EBT. Black people are disproportionate because we're disproportionately poor. Now, what was the reason that black people are disproportionately poor? Why is that reason?
I don't know. You tell me. Why is it disproportionate? I don't know.
Redlining. Redlining is the main reason that black people are in poverty. Do you know what redlining was?
Yeah, I've heard of it before, but I feel like you're trying to guide the debate, and it's not the point. Like, let's go back.
I'm not trying to guide the debate, but your argument was that is disproportionate, and I agree with you that disproportionate. That was never my argument. That's not disproportionate. But Bundy was saying that it's pure, that we commit the majority of the crime, and according to the numbers, we don't.
Yeah, so I concede on that. You win that. You don't commit the majority of crimes, but it is the disproportion. I mean, it's supposed to.
I agree that it's disproportion. I agree that it's disproportion. My thing is all about why is it disproportion, and it's disproportion because of issues like poverty, and it's not just black people, right? You see this all around the world. When it comes to East Europe, for example, the Roma people, they have the East Roma people the Roma people of Eastern Europe. They have the same issues that black people have, majority of the crime, et cetera, et cetera. They also are majority in poverty, and they have a history of being systemically discriminated against. And they were enslaved in Eastern Europe. You know what I'm saying? So they have a very, very similar history, and they have similar problems. So yeah, you can see how the line was there, right?
Criminals, though, like you're just excusing.
I'm not.
Criminals
I'm not zealous. I'm not excusing criminals. There is no excuse to rape somebody, right? I'm not excusing criminals. What I'm saying is that there's a reason these things exist, And we all know this has been studied for society for a long time. In the West, crime follows poverty and proximity. That's what happens. In the East, is something different. The East have a completely different culture. But in the West, that's what happens. Crime follows poverty and proximity. I agree with you that it's disproportionate, and I agree with you that something has to be done about that. We have to go ahead and repair some things, right? But there's a way to repair it. That's all I'm saying. I agree with you that it's disproportionate. I agree with you that's a problem. I don't disagree.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so yeah. So reparations. I don't think blacks should have reparations at all. I think that's an outrageous thing to say. It's already been like what? Because it's been like hundreds of years since blacks have been slaves, and so just to be like, oh, you guys deserve money when you hadn't, it hasn't affected you at all. Like that generation is long past gone, and so it's just ridiculous. I mean, I think you have to make a better debate and as to why you deserve reparations, and we're already giving you government assistance. You're already getting welfare. You're already getting EBT and SNAP. You're already getting Section 8. That sounds like reparation to me.
Hey Zealous. Again, what you're saying is stupid because EBT, SNAP, and Section 8 are not for black people.
Yeah, but who
no. Ain't don't hold on, Zealous. Zealous. Stop right there. EBT, Section 8, Medicaid and Medicare, and all those things, right? They were not made specifically for black people, were they?
Okay, that's ridiculous.
No. Tell me yes or no. It's a yes or no question.
No, yes. I'd say yes. Yeah, it was. Yes.
No, they weren't. This is just historically inaccurate, bro. This is just historically inaccurate. No, they weren't.
Wait, what? You're telling me
no, they weren't.
On average, they ask for government handouts more than black.
Yes,
that's ridiculous.
That's not Zealous. You are not engaging with my question. I asked you when Medicaid and Medicare and Section 8 and EBT, when these programs were set up, were they set up specifically to give to black people? Was that the case?
It doesn't matter because they benefit the most from it.
It does matter. I'm asking you a yes or no question.
I'm not gonna let you trap me because
I'm not trapping you. I'm not trapping you. I am not trapping you, bro. It's simply a yes or no question. Was those program made specifically for black people?
It was made for Americans, and blacks benefit the most from them.
Right. It was made for Americans, which means that's not reparations. That's number one. That's my only point, bro. You can't say reparations are EBT and shit like that because these are not specifically made for black Americans. That's number one. But number two, the reason why reparations are appropriate is because the government damaged the African American community. And we know they did do things like black codes, do things like Jim Crow, do things like redlining. These things damaged the African American community and deliberately targeted them to make them poor. And we still see the results of it today. For example, the Fourth Ward in New Orleans was redlined. O Block in Chicago, redlined. East St. Louis, redlined. East Baltimore, redlined. Overtown Miami, redlined. All these areas where Compton, redlined. Oakland, redlined. Cleveland, redlined. All these places where you see huge amounts of poverty for black people, redlined. Every single one of them. So the government targeted black people to make them poor. Why should the government not fix that?
Well, yeah, I mean, they have already. Again, you're just black people benefit the most from this, and there's affirmative action, and we had
zealous again.
Joe Biden.
Zealous
again. Are you gonna let me speak or not? Again. You just went on and you asked me a question. Are you gonna let me speak?
All right, I'm gonna let you speak, but you keep bringing up the same arguments that I debunked already, bro.
Okay, you said that I'm bringing up affirmative action. I'm saying. No, the redlining, they counteracted that with affirmative action, giving you guys a foothold into college education. They even have black-only community colleges. Like you guys asked for,
Zealous. Can you go to an HBCU? Are you allowed to go to an HBCU, Zealous?
Sure, yeah.
All right. So how did this counteract redlining? How are you saying that this is for you? You can go to one. This is stupid. But the second thing is that affirmative action did not counteract redlining. All affirmative action did was say that you cannot discriminate against qualified minorities, and it wasn't even specifically for black people, because the most people who benefit from affirmative action are white women. White women are the ones who benefit the most from affirmative action. So affirmative action was not anything for black people. It wasn't something to counteract redlining, because redlining targeted black communities, not only to make them poor, to make them not own homes, but also to not insure their businesses. So that means that black people couldn't own homes. That means that there were less mortgages, there was less capital going around, there was less taxes going to the school system, and because there was less taxes in those areas, grocery stores weren't there, which is why you have food deserts in places like Detroit and Chicago. You see what I'm saying? And you also have
not
hospitals,
the crimes, the high crime rates,
and not because of those crimes. Because remember, what caused those areas to become high crime? These areas were just not high crime just because, bro. They became high crime. These areas became high crime. They wasn't high crime just because. You said that these areas, that the government already fixed these areas. How did the government fix the fourth ward of Houston? What did they do? What was the program that actually fixed it? Go ahead.
No, I don't know. I don't know, but I think it's just a bunch of cope. Like you're saying, redlining, but you're avoiding accountability of the actual like criminals. Like, yes, there might be a hand in the government, influencing people to commit crimes, but you just keep taking the accountability out of the criminals. Like, why are you excusing bad behavior with money and all this stuff? Maybe it's a cultural problem.
Zealous. You're not actually understanding my position then, bro. Who said that what the criminals did are okay? No one said that.
You keep saying redlining, and we're already.
That means that you're not listening to my question, Zealous. That means you're not listening to my question. When I asked you, because you agreed with me already that crime happens because of poverty and proximity. So the next question asks, how did? Hold on, Zealous. That's majority of why crime happens. Poverty and proximity. That's the majority reason. And then I asked you what caused black people to have to be in poverty and have close proximity. That was the question. You said you don't know. The answer is redlining. So we need to So we need to repair that. What actually proves my case is middle and upper class black people. Middle class and upper class black people don't commit as much crime, do they? Same thing with white people. Middle and upper class white people don't commit as much crime, do they? Their crimes are usually white collar. No, the crimes for upper echelon white people.
No, blacks are 6 times more likely to commit violent crimes and 8 times more likely to commit burglary, robbery.
My check.
Mike's working now.
We're good. All right, great. All right. So yeah, when it comes to upper echelon people, right? When it comes to upper echelon people, their crimes are usually white collar or like against children and stuff like that, which is still heinous. You know what I mean? Or wage theft, stuff like that. It's usually white collar. But when you get to lower classes or economically lower classes, that's when you get to like more violent crimes. You see what I'm saying? So that's all I'm saying. No one's saying that these crimes these people are committing are okay. I'm not saying that the Crips shooting someone up is fine. No one said that, bro. What I'm saying is that these crimes happen because of the poverty and
Hey, well, bro, you're wasting my time. Look, that's false though, right. Because we see rappers who are millionaires.
So hold on, Zealous, I didn't hear you.
Making money.
No, hold on, Zealous, wait.
Tax brackets.
Zealous, wait.
Let me talk, man.
I know. I'm gonna let you talk, bro. But I didn't hear the first thing you said. My mic was off. Go ahead and say it again. Start over.
You can't keep saying that it's a social economic factor like the poverty rate and everything, because we see black rappers. These NFL people who keep running in with the law. It's a cultural problem. It's not just a social economic problem. It's more than just that, because we get like Blueface who gets arrested for all these things. Snoop Dogg, like it's just.
Give me a second. About that. Give me 1 second. I'll All right, cool. I got it. All right, Zealous, I apologize for that. I do apologize for that. Sorry about that. All right. So I heard the last thing you said, right? We said we just can't say that it's only poverty. I agree with you. We can't say that it's only poverty. I say that what I'm saying is that that's the majority reason, because again, people who are in upper tax brackets, they don't commit as much crimes as people who are in lower tax brackets, right? So because of that, we can look at poverty as the majority reason. It's not the only reason. I agree with you there, right? We can talk about, lack of education, lack of impulse control, stuff like that. We can talk about all those things. What I'm saying is that to blame crime within the black community as only a culture issue is ridiculous, because you don't have to say the same thing about white people. Again, 77% of the convictions for child sexual abuse and child pornography are white men. Are we going to say that white men have a quote unquote culture issue when it comes to being PDF files? We're not going to say that. So that's what I'm saying. Like there's other reasons that explains all this, right? It's not the majority issue. Culture is not is a very simplistic way to explain all these problems, right? And if we just say culture, then we won't fix all the other structural issues that we have. Because again, low education is another reason why crime happens. And majority of criminals have lower education. You feel what I'm saying? So, but that would seem to imply that when they become better educated, you'll see less crimes happen, right? So maybe we should do something about our education system. I don't agree with the education system in America, because I think it forces us to just memorize things and not think critically. We can say critical thinking is another thing. We can say impulse control, delayed gratification, not understanding those type of things. Those things could also be part of it, right? All these things can be part of it, bro. What I'm saying is that to say, oh, it's just the culture, you know what I'm saying, and deny everything else, deny all the structural problems, we're never going to go ahead and have these. We're never going to go ahead and actually get to a point where we can fix these issues. That's all I'm saying, bro.
Yeah, not once did I say it was just the culture. I can list so many reasons as to why blacks are so violent disproportionately to any other population, but that's that.
Can you stop saying blacks, please?
Oh, okay. What should I call you?
Black
people. Okay.
All right. So
what about Black Lives Matter? Where's the people in that?
So when you say black people, when you say black people are disproportionately violent, but then we see the state be violent against black people, won't you say that the state is more violent?
No, I didn't. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't even hear what you said. But all I know is George Floyd's a criminal, and you guys made him a prophet. You made a stat.
All right, that was going nowhere. You're gonna be my last guess. Hey Bundy, I'm done with you, bro. I'm done. You're stupid. I'm sorry, Bundy, but you're stupid. I literally asked you, is 4 bigger than 1? And you said yes. But then I asked you, okay, so if 4 million of one group is arrested and 1 million another group is arrested, who's committing more crime? You said the 1 million group. You're stupid. Like I'm sorry. That's you're dumb. I'm not gonna deal with you, bro. You're dumb. All right. Adlibs. Is that how you say your name? Ad Bliss. I'm not sure how you say your name. All right, Adlibs. How's it going, Adlibs? Can I get your age, and did you disagree with what I had on the board? Yeah, that's you on the stage right now, buddy. Go and unmute yourself, please. Adlibs, you there? Hello, Adlibs. All right. All right. So as of now, we are out of guests. All right. Bundy, you're not okay. Fuck it. All right, go ahead and come back up so we can go to the next thing. Bundy, is 4 million bigger than 1 million?
Yeah, it's bigger than 1 million.
Okay, so that means if 4 million whites are arrested and 1 million blacks are arrested, that means that the white people committed more of the crimes, right?
Yeah, that means they committed more of the crimes.
Great. So saying black people commit the majority of the crimes in this country is wrong.
In a whole, yeah, but
there you go. All right, cool. Now you're going to talk about. Now you want to move to disproportionality. Great, I got you. I've already agreed with disproportionality, bro.
One point. I've already agreed with that. All right, cool. So 12% of the country is keeping up with 80% of the country in crimes, and you don't think that we're more violent?
No, we're not. We're not keeping up with them. Again, the violent crime when it comes to violent crime in of itself, 59% of the arrests for violent crime are white people, and it's 30 for black people. We're not keeping up with them. If it was around 45, then you have a point.
That's keeping up with them.
No, it's not, man. That's a 20-point delineation. That is a 20-point delineation, bro. We're not keeping up with them.
All right, let's go down your list, because we're gonna leave it at America is great. So now you said being woke is good. What do you mean by being woke is good?
Being aware of social and racial injustice.
All right, I could agree. I could agree to disagree on that, but yeah, being aware is good. Now, I don't agree with the reparations for Black Americans.
Why shouldn't Black Americans get reparations? Because we should get reparations too. Haitians should get reparations from France, especially.
Haitians, I mean, that's a whole different discussion. I'm talking about over here for Black Americans, like
Black American,
like Zealous was saying, I don't feel like it's right to make a new generation of white people pay for a generation that they ain't had nothing to do with.
All right, but we're not talking about the old we're talking about the new generation paying for something else, right? It's going to be paid for by the government, because the government. Hold on, wait, Bundy, I said this. Bundy, hold on, Bundy. I said this before. In 1980, Ronald Reagan signed a bill for reparations for the Japanese. It wasn't the same government that put them into those internment camps, but because it wasn't the same people, right? It wasn't the same president, but it was right because the government as an institution harmed the Japanese people.
So how long ago? How long did because you're talking about when they brought them to the concentration camps, right?
That was in the 40s, yeah. And reparations happened in the 80s. So 40 years later.
All right, that's cool. But we talking about something that happened.
So when it comes to redlining, it's 50 years later.
All right, but the redlining, do you feel like redlining still affects us today?
Yes.
No, it doesn't.
You've been to Little Haiti, right?
Yes.
Little Haiti was redlined, bro. You see how it is today?
I get you that there's poor areas and there's areas that's more like, taken care of. But do you think that a white person could get an opportunity that a Black person can't get?
Yeah, we see that.
Like what?
Like
what
for
can
example,
a white person get that I can't get?
They're more likely to be higher than you are.
Why you say that?
On average, that's what we studied. There was a study that I'm going to bring it up. There was a study that looked at for example, names. For example, they looked at a study of applications. They sent out 80,000 applications, and what they looked at was they randomized the names. They had Black sounding names and white sounding names. What they found out was that the Black sounding names, even though they had the experience and they had the resume, basically they had the experience, they had the degrees, they had all of that, they were still less likely to get a call back. They even changed it up. Hold on, let me finish. They even changed it up, right? They didn't even do the whole thing with the names. They had all the same names. All they did was change the race on the application, right? The application was Black versus white, and they changed the race on the application. They found out that even with the same experience, even with the same degrees, even with the same skills, the white people were still likely to get called back over the Black people, even though they were all the same. They even made it worse. What they did was they sent out applications for Black people without a criminal record and for white people with a criminal record. What they found is that their chances of getting a callback was exactly the same. So even a white person that has a criminal record has the same chances as me to get a job as a person who, a black person who does not have a criminal record. That shows discrimination in employment.
So is that what are you just going off stats, or are you going off of personal experience?
Both.
So you saw yourself not get a job, and a white person got the job that you know you was qualified and supposed to get.
Yeah.
And what position was that?
It was one was a customer service position, and another one was insurance.
Okay. So
and not only that, I was gonna say this, bro. We just can't go off personal experience, because I could have been a person that's never experienced that. That doesn't mean it doesn't happen.
That's very true, and I definitely agree with that. But we also gotta realize that propaganda does exist.
All right. When it comes to these studies that I'm talking about, why would they do that? What propaganda are they trying to spread? Because at the end of the day, like, there are people who deny all this is even happening, right? So when they put out studies, and then not only that, there's more money in saying that it doesn't happen and saying that it is. So why would they put out a study that goes against, everything that people think about America? Why would they do that?
Because people have their own experiences. I mean, I don't know. I'm not the person that writes the stats. I don't know what people control, and I know that stats are there to control people's minds. So I like to go off what I see, because I believe seeing is believing, and what you experience firsthand, nobody can really tell you what it is. Like if you experience police brutality firsthand and somebody else don't believe that it's happening, you're not gonna care what that person believe. Like you know that you experienced that, so you know it exists. You feel me?
Right.
So what I'm saying is, with the whole job situation, even though for me, like I had got out of the whole mindset a long time ago to just separate from this country and depending on anything that they could provide for me, I provide for myself. So my mindset is not like most people who depend on going out there and getting a job and going through that whole process. My life ain't even like that no more. But I do understand that I was there at a point in time, and when I was going for certain positions, I really was underqualified and I was getting in.
I mean, yeah, that's fine. That could happen, right? That could happen where you're unqualified, you're getting in, but it could also happen that you're overqualified and not getting in, which happened to me.
Oh,
but
definitely.
What I'm saying,
definitely.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that we just can't go off of that, because you didn't experience something and I experienced something. So what will be the case? How do we figure out which one of us is right in what's happening with the majority of society? Because it can't just be both of us.
Okay, I feel like you can't just pigeonhole every business to that type of standard. Like how you said, like some places gonna treat you good, some places gonna treat you bad. It's all about that company and how they rolling. If they not trying to hire you, you better off not even working for them anyway.
No, I understand that, but that's not what we're arguing, right? We're not arguing to say to put pigeonhole every single thing, every single business is going to discriminate against you. No one is saying that. What we're saying is that overall in the workplace, what is happening to Black applicants? And we see in the workplace, even in every single industry that you can think of, Black applicants are being discriminated against, even when they have the qualifications. That's all we're saying, bro. And that's a problem.
I got you, but this is happening in majority of these white companies. So as Black people, as a race, we should be creating more, you know what I'm saying? That's how I roll. You know what I'm saying? So I really don't want to, I know everybody can start a business, that's not realistic, but we should start our own institutions. We should have our own and our own industries to build our own communities.
I get that part.
Yeah.
I get that part, right? I get that part. But what that takes is capital. And that's something that Black people don't have, because Black people were discriminated against when it came to capital. Even when it comes to Haiti,
now,
right?
At this day and age,
hold on. Capital is not just accumulating money, right? Capital is resources, right? Because there's money capital, there's network, there's connections, there's supply chains. Black people don't control any of those, right? Even right now in Haiti, the majority of companies in Haiti, the big ones that hire most people like DG and Prestige Beer, they're not owned by Haitians, bro. You know what I'm saying? So if they were, Haiti would be a lot better. You know what I'm saying? But like when it comes to America, like that's just the way it is. This is a white-owned country. The majority of the companies are not going to be owned by Black folks. I understand you. I agree with you that, hey, we need to take over a section of society. I've always said that as Black people, when it comes to like logistics and sanitation, we need to aim at that. We as Black folks need to aim at taking over logistics and sanitation, garbage and trucking, because truckers not only make a lot of money, but it's actually fairly easy to get into trucking. You buy a Sprinter van, you get a certain licenses that you can get, and you can go around hot-shotting, going around the country, just making deliveries. You know what I mean? We should be taking that over and connect with each other. We should go ahead and that's why I said that for reparations, one of the institutionalized things that we can do is that in redline communities, put in a pilot program where every single student graduates with a trade. Because once we take over the trades, it's up from there. You know what I'm saying? Because trades make money. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. I agree with you there.
I feel like we can do that without reparations. We could get some congressmen or some people to try to pass something that could get us that right now without the reparations. Here's why I don't agree with reparations. Because I feel like the checks that you give to Black people, some will, like, even though I feel like it's a very small percentage, they will go ahead and use the money for something productive. But the majority is gonna give it. We saw this with the pandemic, with all that money flying around. Majority of the people just went to go give the money to Louis, Gucci, and BS.
That's not even true.
Yes, it is true. Yeah, I lived it and I saw it.
Right. So Bundy, somebody, hold on. Let me try onto this. I'm sure real quick. So Bunny, I understand that you saw it, but again, we're gonna go back to the same thing. Just because you saw something, right, or just because I didn't see something, doesn't mean that it doesn't happen, right? And just because you saw a certain thing doesn't mean that that's the absolute truth, right? So the first thing that I would say is that it actually has been studied of what do Black people spend their money on, and it's always been shown that Black people always spend their money majority on necessities, places to live, fuel, gas, food, things like that. That's the majority of what we spend our money on. You know what I'm saying?
Where did you get that statistic from?
This is a study that was made. This was a study. It was a study that
Black people get income taxes every year. Where do you think majority of that money goes?
It goes to necessities. It goes to their rent. It goes to food. It goes to fixing their car. That's what it goes to. That's what. Hold on, Bundy. You keep saying nah, but the research and the data disagree with you.
Fun.
Hold on, Bundy.
Majority goes to fun.
Bundy, stop. You can't just keep saying this is what I saw. What you saw is not what the majority of Black people are doing, bro.
Yes, it is.
Hold on, bro. There are 48 million Black people. Bundy. Listen. There are 48 million Black people in America. You know 48 million people?
No, I don't.
Exactly.
You don't either.
So you can't. I know I don't either. Bundy, okay. I know I don't either. That's why I'm going off of the actual data,
right, so
the research.
Bundy,
stop. Hold on, listen. Bundy, listen. Bundy,
I'm
listen.
not sitting behind the computer all day. I'm interacting and traveling with Black people all the time.
Bundy, come on, bro. Listen for a second, man. You gotta slow down. Listen for a second. Neither of us know the majority of Black people. So we just can't go off our experience. You have to go off research. When people have researched what do Black people spend their tax returns or all their money on, what does that research say? It says they spend it on necessities, not junk.
So why are they not well off if they're spending it on necessities?
Because again, lack of capital.
Lack of capital. So if they had more money, they wouldn't spend it on more bullshit.
No.
Yes, they would.
Prove it. What evidence do you have?
It happened during the pandemic.
What evidence do you have?
Person was getting stupid money.
You talking about the PPP
where
loans?
are they? PPP loans, unemployment. Black
Niggas
people
was
wasn't
scamming
working
those,
for like
man.
3 years.
Hold on, bro. Hold on. That's first of all, that's wrong.
The country
During that,
wasn't working
hold on,
for like
hold on,
3 years.
whoa.
The whole country wasn't working.
No,
How is that
wrong.
wrong?
Unemployment wasn't 100%, dude. Come on.
100% what?
We didn't have 100% unemployment.
What do you mean we didn't have 100% unemployment?
You said Pete, the whole country wasn't working for 3 years. We didn't have 100% unemployment.
Yes, we did. We had unemployment for like 3 years straight.
Bundy, do you understand what I'm saying? What I'm saying is that the 100% of the country wasn't unemployed. Most people were still working.
Oh, I get that. No. But I'm talking about when the country was shut down. Most of the country was not working.
Yeah, we were. Most of the country was still working, bro.
During the pandemic, no, it was not.
People
Unemployment was at its highest.
Unemployment was at its highest, but what was it?
I don't know what it was, but it was at its highest.
It was 15%. That means that 85% of the country was still working.
Nah, man. Unemployment was going through.
Bro, listen. Unemployment during the pandemic was around 15%. That means that 85% of the country was still working.
Listen,
so when I say
majority of the country was shut down, right?
I understand the majority of the country was
shut down.
Listen,
let's start there. How much of it was shut down?
Bundy, you're not understanding what I'm saying.
All right,
the country,
let's start
I
there,
don't. Bundy, hold on, bro. I understand the majority of the country was shut down. That's not my argument. The majority of the country was shut down.
So make it make
Hold on,
sense.
Bundy, chill.
How was
Bundy,
85% working?
Because again, people were working from home.
Okay.
You can work from home, right?
I get that, but 85% wasn't working from home. You cannot work at McDonald's at your house.
Of course, that was still open.
No. Majority of the country was shut down during the pandemic. Everything started opening up slowly by slowly. Like Bundy, right?
I remember when it comes to things being shut down. Yeah, a lot of restaurants and stuff like that were shut down.
Everything was shut down. Damn near everything. Walmart and everything.
All right, Bundy, I'm gonna need you.
Like, come on,
Bundy. I'm gonna need you to control
85%.
All right. So Bundy, during the pandemic, I was still going to Walmart, bro. People were still working. I was still going to Walmart. I was still going to Publix. I was still going to Walmart. I was still going to Publix. I was still going to the barber. People were still working. So what happened during the shutdown is that they rolled things back, basically. And when it comes to like shut down, yeah, a lot of things that were considered non-essential were shut down, like restaurants and shit like that, until they started opening them back up. But majority of the country was still out there working, bro. All right, people working from home, or they had to go to part-time, or if the whole job just shut down, they had to sit at home.
All right, so how much of the country was shut down then?
I'm not sure, bro. But what I'm saying is that the majority.
Why your point is invalid, because how can you speak on it if you're not sure?
Hey, my guy. Were people still working at Walmart during the pandemic?
Was Walmart closed for a certain period of time? Yes, it was.
No.
My brother was a manager, and it was closed. He was sitting at home next to me.
How long?
I'm not sure how long, but for a couple months.
So that means your point is invalid too, right?
How is that?
That means your point is invalid. Jesus Christ.
Is that?
Bro, when things shut down, I went to Walmart the same day. I was living in Miami during that time.
How is it the same day? What day did everything get shut down? What day you talking about? Since you said you went the same day, what day were you talking about?
I'm talking about the same day that my job got shut down.
What day? What day are you talking about? What day?
I'm talking about the same day that my job got. I was working in customer service during that time. My job sent everybody home. The building got shut down. I went to Walmart that same day. They had a skeleton crew.
Okay,
and they were only letting, hold on. Let me finish.
Walmart got shut down as well.
Let me finish, Bundy. I went to Walmart that same day. Bundy, be quiet for a second, bro. I went to Walmart that same day, and they had a skeleton crew, meaning they were letting people in one at a time, which is why you had those long ass lines. People were still working, bro. That's what I'm saying.
I got.
What I'm saying is that. Hold on. What I'm saying is that when it comes to the shutdown, it wasn't 50%, 60% of the country like not working. Unemployment was 15%. That's what I'm saying, bro.
The country got shut down.
I understand the country got shut down.
Hold on.
I understand the country got shut down.
Wait. Give me a second.
Hold on, Bundy. We're in a tangent. We're on a tangent, bro.
Do you understand that?
We're on a tangent.
Well, let me just ask one question. Do you understand that when the country got shut down, these people that were not going to work were still employed, but they were not working. So they received unemployment.
No,
Do you
I
understand
get
that?
bro. No one
So
argued
do you
that.
understand that?
Yes, Bundy. No one
So do
argued
you
that,
understand
bro.
the percentage that
Bundy.
was receiving unemployment
Bundy. Were black
is not the
people.
percentage that was unemployed?
Yeah, people were scamming it.
So
Bundy,
okay,
chill, man. Hold on, chill, Bundy.
15% like that
Bundy,
number matters, and it doesn't.
Bundy. We're on a tangent. You're not understanding my point. My point was never about people not getting unemployment checks, bro. My point during this entire thing. Hold on, chill, bro. My point wasn't about people not getting unemployment checks, bro. That's not my point. My point is that when we actually look at what black people spend their money on, it's necessities.
No, it isn't.
So where's your data?
So if you give 200,
hold on, wait, stop.
Hold on.
Stop. Where's your data? Where's your data? Hold on, Bundy. Where's your data?
My experience.
That's not data, bro. That's anecdotes. That's not data.
That's enough data for me.
That means you're stupid, bro.
You're not proving me wrong, though.
Yes, I can. I just gave you data. I gave you data.
Data
when you
study what?
From actual studies, from university studies, when they look at what black people spend their money on.
You're just saying that. You're not naming anything. Who's the professor that did this study?
Professors don't do studies.
So
Jesus
who
fucking
is
Christ,
the person?
bro?
Who is the person that did this study?
People, it's not a person that does a study. The studies are given out to universities and organizations.
Somebody put.
It's not a person that does
the
study.
End of that study.
All right, hold on. Let me find it.
Come on, come on now. You trying to tell me there's a study with no name on it?
That's not what I said.
No-name study.
That's not what I said.
That's what you just said.
No, I said it was a university study. I said it was no. Yes, I didn't. But that's not no name.
That's
fucking
no
Christ,
name.
bro.
A group of
people is not no name. A study from a group of people, a study from a university is not no name.
So what's the university?
It's not the same thing.
Then?
Hold on, I think it was University of Harvard. I'll find it. Give me a second. Go ahead, Trill.
Because I'm just trying to say.
I can debunk his claims by using the same logic. So he said that when he looks around, he saw black people tricking off the money. Well, when I looked around during COVID, I saw black people spend their money wisely.
Like what?
There you go. Again, when they were at Walmart, they were buying necessities. They were not buying a whole bunch of.
But that money was to start a business. The PPP loan was to start a business. They wasn't starting businesses.
Groceries.
They wasn't starting no businesses.
Oh, I can disprove this. I can disprove this too. Hey, Bundy. I was around black people that did start businesses.
I'm not saying everyone did not. I did not say that. From the beginning of my point, I said something. I'm one of the black people that did start a business.
There you go. That debunks your point. You said that the majority of people when they black people when they get money. You said majority of black people when they You said majority of black people when they get their money they spend it on bullshit. The majority of I'm saying the majority of black people spend it on necessities.
No.
So in my experience, the majority of black people spend their money on necessities.
No.
So now what do we do?
And you got two black people who with experience seeing other black people spending their money on necessities during COVID. So you're the only black person on this here stage.
No.
Black people spending.
So you trying to tell me? You trying to tell me?
No, we're using.
Hold on. So you trying to tell me necessities? There was more people spending money on necessities than fun.
Yes.
During COVID, yes.
During COVID, yes. Because that's what I saw.
You out of your mind.
You can't prove me wrong, Money. That's what I saw.
So why are all these arrests happening?
What arrests?
Why those arrests happen?
Which arrests?
What you mean? Which arrests? All those PPP arrests.
Those were the minority of black people, not the majority. Those are the minority.
Nah, that was a majority. A lot of those black people that if you didn't get a certain amount, they wouldn't come after you. So a lot of people that was under the radar, they got to get away with it. Majority of them got to get away with it. Yes. If you didn't get over a certain like 80, 90, 100,000, the government wasn't coming for you because that was too much people to come after.
And the majority of black people didn't get $100,000. The majority of black people got PPP
exactly.
loans.
Most people got 20,000. Yeah, 40,000.
Exactly. And they spent it on necessities and starting their businesses.
No, they did not.
Yeah, they did. Because that's what I saw. You can't prove me wrong.
How many new black businesses started since the pandemic? What percentage you give it?
I'm not. I could look that up. Give me a second.
Yeah, let's look that up.
All right, but first I'm going to go ahead and
because I know it wasn't spent on opening no.
Hold on. First, I'm going to give you the study. All right. So this study was done by. Damn it! Give me a second. It's the McKinsey organization. They're a nonprofit that actually looks at what people spend their money on, and I could give you the Bureau of Labor Statistics. All right. So according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, right, the people who actually track this type of stuff, Black American households spend a higher proportion of their income on necessities like housing and food, often facing higher costs for basics.
Okay. And that was their perspective. So who is running the data analysis with the drugs? With who? How much?
What we talking about?
How are we calculating how much drugs the Black people are buying? Where is that in the data? Because I'm pretty sure that's not in there.
Prescription or illicit?
Drugs on the street. How much?
That's not tracked by anybody, bro. What you talking about?
Exactly. So how can you actually think your numbers are accurate?
This is stupid, man. This is very, very stupid.
This
is very, very stupid.
So that
hold on, wait, hold on.
For Black
Bundy,
people?
Bundy. This is
that
very,
world
very
does
stupid.
not exist for Black people.
That's not what I said.
Okay, so
Bundy, you need to start
Black
tracking.
people are majority Black people impoverished are impoverished or not?
All right. Majority of Black people are not impoverished. 25% is not majority. Here's a problem, Bundy. There's a problem that you're having. All right. I already debunked what you said. You claimed that the majority of Black people spend their money on bullshit.
Yes.
However, 2 studies by the McKinsey Institution and by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, which is a government study, proved that they spend it on necessities. And then you brought up illicit drugs. No one tracks that for anybody.
Exactly.
So then how can you say that these numbers are inaccurate if there's no tracking of that? How can you say that? No one tracks it.
No one tracks it. So if Black people are spending the majority of their money on whatever else, like nobody is tracking
but they're not.
You cannot tell me. You cannot.
So what's your evidence that they do? Bundy, stop. Bundy. What is their evidence? Bundy. What is your evidence? What is your evidence? What is your evidence? What is your evidence that Black people are spending the majority of their money on drugs? What's your evidence of that?
Hold on. I'm not just saying.
No. Stop. No. I'm tired of this. Nope. I'm tired of this. No. You're going to answer my question. Where is your data? Where is your information? Where is your study that shows that Black people are spending any amount of their money on drugs? Where's your information that shows that? Where is your data? Where is your study? I give you 2 studies.
All you have to do.
I gave you 2 studies.
Outside.
I gave you 2 studies. I gave you 2 studies.
So
I gave you 2 studies. I gave you 2. I didn't say that. I gave you 2 studies. I didn't say that.
Okay,
I gave you 2 studies. 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 I gave you 2 studies that show that Black people spend majority of their income on necessities like housing and food. Where is your study?
Okay, so Volsi, let me ask you this.
Nope. Where is your study?
ATM, right?
Nope. Where is your study? Nope. I'm not waiting for nothing. I'm not waiting for nothing. I'm not waiting for nothing. Shut the fuck up. Where is your study that shows that Black people are spending any amount of their money or any significant amount of their money on drugs? I'm gonna give you this, right? Black people do buy drugs. White people buy drugs. Everybody buys drugs, right? We can all buy weed. We all know a weed man. All of us know one. I know a weed man, or I can get one, right? All of us know one. What I'm asking you is that how much do Black people actually spend on those illicit substances? Is it 25%? Is it 50%? And where is your information coming from? Where is your study? Where is your data? How much do they spend on it? Hold on, Bundy. How much out of 100% of their income, what is the percentage that Black people are spending on drugs? Where is that? How much is it?
Black people as a whole?
No. I'm talking about Black people as a whole, their income. 100% of their income. If you took 100% of their income, how much of that is spent on drugs? 5%, 10%, 15%.
Black people that do drugs.
Bundy, is it 5%,
60%?
60% for black people that do drugs?
Black people that do drugs, 60%.
Bundy, I smoke weed. I spend 60% of my income on weed.
You probably do.
I live in a fucking house. How am I paying my rent?
So what?
Yeah. This is why I say you're stupid, bro.
So what?
This is why I said that you're stupid. No, you're stupid. You're stupid.
Hold on.
No. You're dumb. You're dumb. This is stupid. This is extremely stupid. You're just making shit up at this point, bro. This is extremely stupid. This is extremely fucking stupid. My bad. I didn't let you get in on that trill, but this is stupid. He literally said that black people who do drugs spend 60% of their income on drugs.
I mean, that's what it's like. Wait, but black people no. The average person, the average adult makes around $50,000 a year. So they spend $25,000 a year on weed. That doesn't even sound right. Like that doesn't make any sense. Like then the black homeless rate would be like through the roof. I mean, like it's the whole thing about people.
I gotta get out of here.
Is always about their personal experience. They don't trust anything other than that. But like, wait, okay, but that's your personal experience, and it's like I'm finding out that people literally have, I think, developmental deficiencies to where they can't understand certain concepts, like empathy, like they physically can't understand empathy, because empathy allows you to understand that, oh, well, my experience isn't other people's experience. You know, yeah, I may experience people who, don't spend their money right, but other people do have experiences of people spending their money right, but they can't understand that because I don't know if it's their development or what, but they just don't have the ability to understand that concept. And I think that's a huge problem that we're having.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. This is. I'm getting a headache, man. This is insanely crazy. This is insanely crazy. The man said I spend 60% of my income on weed. How the hell am I gonna pay my rent, bro? How would I pay my rent if I spend 60% of my money on drugs? This is insane. This is insanity, bro. And this is the one that said that he's gonna go ahead and come debate me. All right, so for everybody who's my bad, I got another thing by another person. I don't know why he's paying me for, but a striker says black teen was shot by another black teen in Memphis and no outrage. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that his family and the community that where he died were outraged. Thank you for paying me $5 to say something vaguely racist, I guess. I don't know, but go ahead and thanks for that. But let's see. All right, y'all, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Who was that person? Person 64. I'm gonna get out of here. I'll be on tomorrow because I've been on for 2 hours and I got other shit to do. This is insane. So for everybody who was watching me on YouTube, who wanted to come debate, call me stupid or whatever, none of y'all could stand up to anything that I said.
Dave, also one more thing I just want to get out because it's something that it just kind of annoys me. I just kind of want to relate it to you. So when people talk about crime, right, they always say, "Oh, black people commit the most crime." The first thing I ask them, okay, what statistics are you using? 9 times out of 10, the statistics they're using are the FBI arrest stats, right? So then I ask them, okay, well, are arrests convictions? They go, well, no, they're not. Well, okay, then how can you say that black people commit the most crimes if you're using arrest stats, right? So I always try to tell people, like, listen, like, stress that point because they're always saying commit. Black people commit. Like, what do you mean commit? Right? You gotta bring doubt on the numbers because numbers are doubtful. Because because we're over policed, white people are underpoliced, and we're overcharged, white people are undercharged. We're 50% of the exoneration. So if you really add all that stuff up, all those questions, all those errors in the data, we really kind of even out. It's nowhere near as high as they say it is. So I always be careful with that word commit. I don't even say the word commit really when you talk about crime, because that's basically using white people's language to describe black trauma. So I leave it there.
Yeah, I agree with that. The entire thing is that because I brought this up already. Black people represent the majority of exonerations, which means that we're being wrongfully convicted the majority of the time. You know what I mean? And all of these, just like how you said, all of these stats that we're talking about, they're arrests. You know what I mean? They're not convictions. And when it comes to convictions, like most, like we're getting exonerated majority of the time. You know what I mean? We're the majority of exonerations. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's kind of crazy how to say that we're committing all these crimes, but again, the arrest reports don't show that. The conviction reports don't show that. You know what I'm saying? We're just over policed.
Look at the
and if your community is over policed, yeah, you're gonna get more people to come after you and arrest you. If white people were just as policed as black people were, you'll see those numbers very much even out. Blake, I didn't see your question. What was Blake's question? Do you see Blake's question, True? What was his question? Blake, I don't see your question. Oh, there it is. I see it. Where would the government get the funding to give checks to Black Americans? From taxes, the same way that they got it for the Japanese? It's a pretty easy question. It's a pretty easy question. Yeah, they get it from taxes. They got that Japanese. And reparations won't even be that expensive. People think reparations have to be, like 10, 15, 20, or $60 trillion. It doesn't even need to be that. If you give $100,000 to each black family,
I want them to get off easy. I want them to get off easy. So I want them to, like, it's gonna be significant, but like what's actually important is the yearly cost, because no matter what system it is, it's going to be like how much money per year. That's the real question we need to be asking: how much per year? So it could be $1 trillion a year. That's really more ideal, because that's what the government can do. The government can maintain $1 trillion a year payout, that could accumulate to 20 trillion or 6 trillion or whatever. So it's the amount per year that matters, not the total amount.
Yeah, it's exactly. It's the amount per year. And truthfully, if I say that, the reparations should, if you make the reparations go towards families, then or households and just individuals, then people are thinking that, there's like 42 or 41 million Black Americans, because it's going to go straight to them, right? But like, I'm pretty sure they're not going to give a 5-year-old $100,000 unless he's an orphan, and they're going to hold it in trust. You see what I'm saying? So that's the thing, right? But the majority of it is going to go to families. I'm pretty sure they're not going to give 16-year-olds like $100,000 in their bank account. They're going to give it to their parents. You see what I'm saying? So if you do something like that, if you give it to households and you give it to families, $100,000-$200,000, that breaks it down. You know what I mean? Because how many families are there? There are about 36-37 million families, households, Black households. You see what I'm saying? If you do it like that, then reparations goes from like 60 trillion somewhere to around maybe around like 5 to 10. And you can do that each year. We spend $1 trillion a year on our military. We can do 500 billion a year for reparations and give it to the households. And not only that, like I said, pilot programs in these schools to have them all graduate with a trade. You know what I mean? And those 17, 18-year-olds who are graduating from poor areas in like Chicago or East St. Louis somewhere with a trade, they'd be like, I'm go ahead and work for the electric company. Go ahead and be a 17, 18-year-old making $50,000, $60,000 a year. And they'll probably stay in their neighborhood. That's more taxes. They'll probably be able to buy the house that they're living in instead of renting it. They'll be able to move out the projects and buy better housing. You see what I'm saying? They'll probably stay in their area anyway. That's what I'm saying. Like if we do these pilot programs, it's gonna cost and be a lot less than what we think it is gonna be. Yeah, you feel me, True?
Oh yeah, and it's also a net benefit to the economy. Again, not only will we create our own business, we'll also support other people's businesses. And I want to say, people always wonder, oh man, where are we going to get the taxes from? I mean, where are we going to get taxes from? Well, there's a lot of businesses, old businesses that still exist from that time. Like say Aetna, I think like an insurance company, JP Morgan, also from that time. Like, these are old businesses that, Citibank, that all have been around. These companies have been around for decades. They already need to lose their power anyway because they're way too big. They control way too many resources. So a great way to, bring them down is to, extract their wealth. And what better way than to extract their wealth from their cold, dead hands and, and give it to Black Americans who basically suffered from their cruelty. Exactly. And also this idea, and we don't need to, and people are like, oh yeah, but then they'll leave. Okay, leave. I mean, like people think that we need these billionaires. We don't. I mean, that's all other.
We don't need billionaires. We could seize their assets. We don't need billionaires.
Yeah.
But Tracy over in my YouTube comments says that I don't mind getting money, but that will make America less racist. True. It won't make America less racist, but yeah, that'll allow Black people to build institutions and build a market separate from and not need to depend on white America. It will definitely make mean that Black people won't need to depend on white America, because even if we do it in my idea, where it's $500 billion a year to a certain amount of families until reparations are all paid out, that's going to let's say that you're part of the family where you're going to get it in the fifth year reparations. The fact that in that first year, a lot of the kids from that high school graduated and now they live in your community, and now they're electricians or plumbers or truck drivers or LPNs or software engineers and stuff like that. You're going to see in your community within that 5 years, more mortgages, more businesses, better infrastructure within that 5 years. So even while you're waiting for that money to come, you're going to get the benefit. And then when it finally comes, you can go ahead and join in and create those businesses and everything like that. You see what I'm saying? So like, even if we do it the way that that I say, you're still going to see the benefit, even if it's 5 years later. You're not going to have to depend on you're not going to have to depend on white America to live. I do agree with you though, Tracy. It won't make America less racist, but we can build institutions separate from the dominant community. Yeah, we won't have to depend on them. Agree with you.
Here's the thing, well, no one's concerned about making white people less racist. I mean, that's not the goal of reparations. The goal of reparations is to provide Black people with the ability to be at least economically autonomous. So we don't have to be beholden to private white power. Like we still have to be beholden to the government power, but that can be battled out through politics, which will be at least easier to do with reparations. But ultimately, making white people less racist is a fool's errand. Like it's pointless. No one's concerned about that, and also no one cared about Black people when white people were making all these decisions that hurt us. Again, we're talking about slavery and accrued disadvantage. I always ask people, okay, when did the harm against Black people stop? And say, slavery just so long ago, like 100 years ago. Okay. But what happened after slavery? Reconstruction. Okay. What happened after Reconstruction? Jim Crow. Okay. What happened after Jim Crow? Civil rights. Okay. Well, you keep going. It's like, so when did America stop harming Black people? They can't name a time. Yeah. And every time they try to attempt, the 80s. The 80s, like when the crack epidemic happened. Okay, you right about that. Okay, then how about the 90s? Then the crime bill. Okay, dang, you right about that. Okay, 2000. Yeah, 2000. I mean George Bush when was it? It was that flood. I'm sorry, in Louisiana. Katrina, like Katrina. Okay, dang, you got me there. Okay. How about during Obama? That Obama's the part. Yeah. Okay. You mean like when Obama was president and they were like making the dolls that were of Obama being strange fruited, right? Like
yeah, exactly.
Oh, Trump, it had to be Trump. Oh, Trump. Like they keep trying to find a place where America stopped harming black people. They can't find one. You know what I mean? But I'm the bad guy for pointing it out. Okay.
Exactly. All right, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Churl, I appreciate you. Gonna go ahead and end it now, but I appreciate you being up. All right,
bro.
All right, bro. Hey, Mike, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here, man, because I'm go ahead and join me tomorrow. Just follow me, join me tomorrow because I'm gonna get out. I've been on for 2.5 hours and my mouth hurts. Pause. But all right, y'all, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. I do appreciate y'all for being here. For everybody who was in my same time. For everybody who was in my what was they called again? For everybody who was in my comment section, if you want to go ahead and come on and debate me, go ahead and come on next time. I'll be here tomorrow, same topic. I'll do the same topic tomorrow, all right? And I'll debate anybody on this. Shout out to Coco. I'm gonna reach out to Coco and see if we can do it then, all right? And I'm going to go ahead and get out of here this time. Y'all are wonderful. I appreciate you all. Remember, y'all, to always be soft. That means to be secure, affectionate, wise, flexible, and thoughtful. Everybody out there, be soft. And I appreciate y'all. Mike, come back tomorrow around 7 p.m. I will be back on. All right. Appreciate